Yo, what's up, everyone? It's me again, back with another live stream. I hope this new live stream would have come across to all yourselves. I will explain exactly what took place. It looks as if there was a violation issue that took place when I was streaming Coming to America. I thought I could get past it. I didn't think it had to be a fair use. Fair use. I should have said fair use to begin with, but to be fair, that's the first one I've ever had. So in future, I'll know exactly what to do. So apologies for the confusion. I've set up a second stream. I'm seeing people come through already. What's up, Skittles Man Reloaded? How's it going? How's everyone doing on their nice Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, wherever you are listening in the world or on the playback? And today, what I want to discuss is something which, to be fair, as someone from the UK, as you guys all well know, we don't usually care about the royal family. But I thought, you know what? After everything I've been witnessing over the last year or so, I've done a couple of videos in regards to it, but not really talking about this situation here. And the video that I wanted to play in its entirety, but you pretty much got the gist of it. I'm hoping you did. I did see a couple of people asking, where's the connection between the Coming to America and what I'm going to talk about in regards to Prince Harry? And a good question. And there was a couple of parts which I hoped you just listened in on in regards to why I say it's kind of relevant, because Prince Hakeem, played by Eddie Murphy in the first Coming to America, if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing, but watch that movie if you haven't seen it. But there's a scene at the end in which Prince Hakeem was so madly in love that he was willing to give up his whole entire birthright to be with this woman. Let me say that again. Prince Hakeem was so blue-pilled in love, he was willing, and he said it on, there would have been two occasions. You didn't get to see the second occasion because that was right at the end. It was like only another 2 minutes left of the video that I just wanted to play. But he was willing to give up his entire throne, all for love. Now, I don't know if you watch the film Coming to America, he was loaded, rich. He had everything he needed, everything he ever wanted. If you watch that film, when they first come to the America and they go to Queens, they have all these gold toothbrushes, gold hair dryers, every single thing that a man could possibly want, he had at his disposal. But he was willing to give that all up for his bride. And this is why I wanted to connect it with Prince Harry, because again, there's a couple of reasons why I don't really broach the royal families. Number one, again, us as people in the UK, we don't care about the royal family as a lot of other people outside seem to think that we do. There's this perception that all we sort of do is have tea and crumpets and care about the royal family. As I'm like, that's just complete BS. Most people in the UK, unless it's things such as, marriages, babies being born, abdications, the big things, but really and truly, the little things about all this other gossipy crap, we don't really care about it. So that's the reason why it's not something that's being broached. But the second reason why I don't touch this, at least from my perspective, is I've realized in the UK, a lot of people seem to brush off anyone's feelings if they perceive them to be in a more privileged position than they are. So time and time again, and this is a classic example here, where because the royals, they're born into privilege, let's be honest, they really are. We seem to have this opinion or viewpoint that they don't have feelings like we do. They don't go through grief, trauma, stress, anger. They don't care about their own privacy. We seem to think that because they are either rich or privileged, that they shouldn't have a right to have issues that like we do. And I'm not one of those people. I don't believe that just because you have a bigger bank balance, because if you've worked your way up, or even if you're born into privilege, I don't believe that you are less of a human. I don't think that you should be just be made to shut up and deal with everything. That's the second reason why I almost don't go onto either the bandwagon of whichever side that you fall on, because I've realized in this conversation now, which I'm going to get into, there is a side that people instantly glean to. I don't know how it is. It's almost like Marmite. You either love Prince Harry or hate Meghan Markle, or you kind of hate Prince Harry. It's either, I've never really seen too many people who are that lukewarm, or they just don't care in general. That's the only lukewarm analogy I can give you. They just don't care. But I had to chime in on this because Prince Harry, after his latest interview, which we're going to discuss some of the information that was discussed. He continues because in my mind, he is blue pilled up to wazoo on steroids in regards to Meghan Markle. Sorry. Oh, my days. I heard that so many times when by somebody who keeps calling that. But Meghan Markle, he is so blue pilled that he is giving up everything and everyone who he knows and loves for this woman. And at first I thought, do you know what? Let me give you the benefit of the doubt, because again, to my second point, I do believe that regardless of whether you're in a privileged position, the royal family, for example, I do believe that you go through stress and turmoil. So certain things which you can give me all the money in the world, I would not give up my privacy or my security. That's what I believe. I believe there's two things which money cannot buy me. That is invasion of my privacy and security. That's why when it comes to this YouTube piece, I'm just going to do a little bit of sidebar, but on this YouTube piece, there are things which I will not divulge to the public because it's none of your business. I know things that have happened in my life where I've divulged a piece of information to some other people and it's gotten out, whether it be family, whether it be friends, co-workers. And one of the things, and this is the main sort of thing I want to discuss today, is once you break something called trust, it is a very hard, if sometimes damn near impossible thing to get back. It is damn near impossible, depending on what the level of betrayal is, to get trust back. Because once you've violated certain trust, there's certain things which I believe, regardless of the situation, should be kept in-house and should be kept in a way which doesn't violate the trust that has been built up. And this is what Prince Harry has done. In my mind, he has not just been a blue-pilled simp male. He has gone super sane in regards to the things that the things that he said, the things that he's aired out, the people he's thrown under the bus. These are all his family members, his close family members. These aren't distant cousins. These aren't these distant people. These are people who, in my mind, would understand where he's coming from, particularly his brother. Because if there's any one person who should understand his plight, maybe not fully because we're all different human beings, but there's one person who should have the same, should have his back, and maybe he doesn't think that he should have, but at least can come together, is his brother and his close family. So his mother, his father, and his brothers, etc., etc. But that's not what's happening right now. This is why I wanted to bring Prince Harry into the fold right now. This is why I wanted to talk about this topic, because Prince Harry, in my mind, has violated one of the things which, for me personally, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, he's violating a lot of trusts, which had that had come out about any, so, for example, my family or what, not my family or something else, there's certain things which, certain bridges, once they get burnt, it's damn near impossible to rebuild. So we're going to get into that today because, again, I've tried to be neutral on this because for the most part, I don't care about the royal family, but my days, this just has to be spoken about. And there's one thing I also want to say, because for all you UK red pillars out there, for all you guys who talk about female nature, hypergamy, for all those people who are on that sort of avenue, because that's not really my avenue, that's not my lane. A lot of I find the topics to be redundant and just overplayed, and that's just not my lane at all. It comes across a little bit as just, woman hating, and that's not me at all. But I'm going to say this to you. If you cannot put together a video in regards to this situation, particularly when it comes to Meghan Markle, the fact that the hypergamous nature, the fact of what's happened, the rift, the fact that, let's be honest, she's a black or mixed woman comes into place, because we all know how you guys love all that kind of stuff when it comes to dysfunction, narcissism. If you guys can't make a video on this, then I'm sorry, take away your red pill status right now. Take it away, because this is an open goal in which I'm so surprised that some of the leading contenders in this space from a UK perspective has not taken the mantle on by breaking this down, because there's so many layers to this story. This really is. And I'm going to go just to one layer in regards to how really this shows how you just really can't trust people who are that madly blue-pilled simp in love, where they've completely forgotten their own purpose. And this is what we're going to get in today. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm just going to show you the snippets in regards to a news article that took place. I'm just going to share my screen. This was I think it was a podcast that took place, I want to say a couple of days ago, in which Prince Harry was talking about mental health. You know how it is right now. It's all about mental health. It's all about loving everybody. It's all about this and all about that. So I just want to go into this. I just want to show you exactly the depth of why. Trust these kind of people with your peril, with your information, because this guy is betraying his whole family. Let's get into this. So Prince Harry, it's a BBC article, says, I want to break cycle of pain for my children. Now, funny enough, they also got hit with a copyright strike. So you're not the only ones. Now, the Duke of Sussex has said he wants to break the cycle of the pain and suffering of his upbringing with his own children. Prince Harry, who is expecting a daughter with wife Meghan and is already father to their son Archie, said he did not want to pass on pain from his own experience. But he said that he did not think we should be pointing the finger at anybody. Interesting. Buckingham Palace and Clarence House declined to comment on his remarks during an appearance on the Armchair Expert podcast. This is what he did again, must be a couple of days ago now. Prince Harry compared his life to a mixture of the film The Truman Show, in which the main character unwittingly lives his life on the TV show and being in a zoo. Now, I've got to be fair and balanced here because I will agree on this. And this is what I said earlier on. For all the money in the world, you could not pay me to be in the royal family. I don't care what anybody says. People can talk about privilege. People can talk about he hasn't had to do anything in all his life. But I'm sorry. There's no chance you are going to convince me that by giving up your kind of privacy, because let's be honest, he has no privacy. He has no privacy. Everything is pretty much laid bare. There are things which are secrets in the royal family. We know this, but let's be honest. I don't know about you. I could not. If someone told me, yes, tomorrow or even today, you'll be one of the richest men in the world, but you have to live in the royal family, I'm sorry, I'll keep where I'm at right now because he's right. It's a mixture of the Truman Show and a mixture of being in the zoo because he has been through certain stresses and certain griefs with his mother dying. Now, again, people will say this, yeah, but everyone goes through certain issues, and I don't disagree with that. But imagine having these issues, and it's times by 1,000 because you're in the public eye. And this is why, again, I don't fully agree with a lot of the detractors about some of the things they've said about him because, again, they've not had to live their life in the public eye from day one. It's not as if he chose this life. He didn't choose to be born in his family. Like no one chooses to be born in their own family. It's just happenstance that he lives in one of the most privileged families on planet Earth. But still, there are situations which I would not want to be in. Let's continue. He said, being born into the royal family, you inherit every element of it without choice. Exactly, without choice. Including that the UK media feel an ownership over you. And yes, they do. Like we feel an ownership of them. Because guess what we always say to them? Well, we pay our TV license, the BBC, whatever it is, that our taxes, they go towards the royal family. Even though the royal family itself, the brand of the royal family, is one of the most global brands in the whole entire world. And they bring so many tourists. They do so many other things that people don't really seem to care about because they see it as, we own you, you're just a royal family, you have no relevance. And we see them as irrelevant to our lifestyle. Because let's be honest, they don't have any power like they used to have. So it's all just royal family in name. It's not the same as it used to be way back when. So Prince Harry told American actor and podcast co-host Dak Shepard, I don't think we should be pointing the finger or blaming anybody, but certainly when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so I don't pass it on, basically. Now, here's what I've got to say to you, Prince Harry, and this is where, for me, you show your inexperience with life, because let me just, share some insights from just living and understanding things. You will always pass on a level of pain to your children because at the end of the day, you're going to do things which your children aren't going to agree with. There's no family on planet Earth, correct me if I'm wrong, who, if you ask a child, they once said their parents have inflicted some type of pain. Now, there's levels to it, do not get me wrong. But let's be honest, if you discipline your child, is your child not going to feel some sort of pain? If you tell your child not to do this or do this, certain parents will say, you can only be this in life in terms of being a doctor or a lawyer. Some parents will say, I'm going to be strict with you while you have to revise all your exams. There's always a level of pain or suffering because their parents have been taught a certain way. Their parents have been taught a certain way. So there's always a cycle of we pass on what we believe is the best for our children to live because guess what? We're only human. We believe that's the best for us. There's certain things which I'm going to be honest with you. You can never break that cycle because I guarantee by you trying to break that cycle, you're probably going to end up hurting your children in other ways that, let's be honest, you think, my days, it's a hell of a lot worse being in this generation than it is now. Because let's be honest, if you go in this generation, a lot of kids are unruly, undisciplined, and look at the pain and suffering that they're going through because guess what? Their parents are becoming their friends and not their parents. So when he says, and it reads, it's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on, I agree with that. But that's the same like every family. Adding that parents should be trying to stop that from happening. It can never happen because guess what? Parents are there as the first point of call to discipline, to set that foundation and that structure. There's always going to be some pain. There's always going to be some stress. There's always going to be some trauma. Again, there's levels to everything. I understand that some people, the pain and suffering is unwarranted. I get that. But there'll always be a part of that. Because guess what? As a parent, your duty is to protect your kids, to make sure your kid's on the right path. And a lot of times, your child, even I was young, I was like, I don't want to do in this mess. And sometimes you just blame your parents for how you raised or how you were reared or how you brought up, because guess what? Your parents thought that was the best thing for you. It is what it is. He said, I started to piece it together and go, okay, so this is where we went to school. This is what happened. I knew about his life. I also knew that it's connected to his parents. So that means he's treating me the way he was treated. So how can I change that for my own kids? Fair enough. The Prince of Wales ignored questions from a BBC report about his son's remarks, which were put to him as he arrived at a royal engagement in Cardiff earlier. The 36-year-old Duke said that he was in his early 20s when he thought, I don't want this job. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. Look what it did to my mum. How am I ever going to settle down and have a wife and family when I knew it's going to happen again? Now, if he had said this maybe a year or two ago, I would absolutely be on your side with this. And this is where I titled the video, You Can't Trust a Blue Pill Simp, because he's a liar. He will do he is so madly in love with this person that, I'm sorry, everything that comes out of his mouth right now, I do not trust. I'm going to go into why. Because right now he said this, I don't want this job. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. Look what it did to my mum. Now, he's obviously talking about Princess Diana. If you don't know, how she was pretty much hounded out of the UK because of the media. It led to ultimately her demise, in which right now there's so many conspiracy theories about that story. It will never die. I don't think we'll ever know the truth, or I think if the truth gets put to light, no one would ever believe it. Such is the hysteria and the conspiracy theories that operates behind what happened to Princess Diana. But there's no question the intrusion on their life caused it. He goes on to say, I've seen behind the curtain. I've seen the business model. I know how this operation runs and how it works. I don't want to be a part of this. And a wide-ranging 90-minute interview, the prince said his family move to the US had not been part of his plan, but he had put their family and their mental health first. Now, this is where I'm going to call BS in what he's trying to say, because it goes on to say on his and Meghan's life in Los Angeles, California. Now, stop right there. Stop right there. Now, Prince Harry, if you're listening to this, I know you're not, but if you are, this is where I stop believing what you're saying. Because if you wanted the best for your mental health, not for just you, but your family and for everybody else, there is no way in God's green earth you would ever move your family to LA, California. There's no way near. Let me know, people. You've wanted to get away from, apparently, he wanted to get away from the media intrusion. He wanted to get away from not being able to have his own life. As he states, he wanted to be free. He wanted to be able to take his kid on a bike ride. If you read the whole article, he talks about, oh, he wants to be free. Oh, he didn't want to be part of this job. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. Look what it did to my mum. All the press intrusion, all this kind of other stuff. And the first move he makes once he leaves the royal family, because here's the thing, you can go to the US, no problem. But of all the states to go into, of all the states to uproot your life and to apparently get this privacy, where did you go? You went to the one place on planet Earth where you do not get no privacy if you're a known person or a celebrity. Because at the end of the day, you could have gone to any other place in the US. You could have gone to, where am I thinking? Some no-mark place, Maine or Delaware or something like that. But no. This is where I don't trust you now. Again, for all you red pillars out there, for all of you people who are on this and understand the angle which you can take this, you can say it's Meghan Markle. You can say it's her footprints all over this. Because again, she's from that place. She's from LA. She's a former actress. Hypergamy. She's been wanting this all along, and she's been wanting to get the brand. Because here's the thing, all that she wanted was the brand. Because we all know about the social ladder, the social climbing. We all know about it. So if she could have gotten, let's be honest, there's certain royal families. There's a lot of royal families in the world, but there's only really one royal family. Because if you ask anyone in the world, I pretty much guarantee it, if you talk about the royal family, don't say where. Who are you thinking? You're thinking the monarchy in, guess what? Great Britain. You're thinking of Buckingham Palace. You're not thinking of the Kingdom of Sweden. You're not thinking of the royal family that exists in Monaco, in Netherlands. You're thinking of the pinnacle. The pinnacle of royal family is, guess what? Buckingham Palace, the UK, Prince Harry, Prince William, etc., etc. So red pillars, again, if you guys can't take this story and run with it from that angle, if you're on that ish, hang up your boots. You not red pillars. You not true red pillars. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this. I used to be on your side with you guys wanted to be free from all your excursions. You wanted all these sort of no privacy. But my days, you do not go to California. You do not go to LA. And you do not whore yourself out, because this is what's going on right now, Prince Harry. You have completely betrayed your family and you have whored yourself out. All because, guess what? You have completely lost your purpose behind this woman. That's right. That's right. What is happening right now is because you have not, and I would love to know when you're going to take this red pill, because this will be an interesting sight, because I've been hearing a lot of other things. I don't want to put that in the atmosphere. People believe that kind of stuff, but he has completely lost his purpose, lost his way, and everything that's taken place since the split of the royal family. It just screams that he is not taking his proper purpose in terms of leading the charge. He's hiding behind the charge of Meghan Markle and what she's looking to do. Because in my mind, I'm not saying it's all her fault, because I do think Prince Harry wanted a little bit of this. Now, granted, I don't believe that they wanted it to go out this way, but my days, the way how it's transpired, it's just so perfect. Think about it. You have a woman, she's mixed or black, however you want to see it. She's a peasant pretty much. She managed to go, marry royalty. And guess what? Even that wasn't enough. And now her brand is transformed. She's now pretty much a household name. Because beforehand, she was an actress, but she wasn't a household name. If anyone watched Suits, which to be fair, I actually did watch Suits. So I was watching Suits in the earlier seasons when it was good. So I knew who she was beforehand. Granted, I didn't know everything about her, but my gaze, if this isn't a classic case of it looks as if Prince Harry has completely fallen, smitten in love with Meghan Markle to the point where he's lost his goddamn soul. And now, guess what? He is betraying everyone who I thought had his back. Now, apparently, yep, sorry, I just want to put on that. It's a Cinderella story. Well, kind of. It looked like it was going to be a Cinderella story. That's exactly how it was going to be pitched. And that's exactly why, I thought, okay, all is well. But no, clearly that wasn't enough. Clearly that wasn't enough. And if you look at some of the reasons why it took place, there was a situation that took place where there was an interview where it was all the royals in terms of Prince William, Prince Harry, Kate, and Meghan. And they're all sitting talking and, they all had their shine except for Meghan. And Meghan was asking, do I not get a voice? And that's exactly what the situation has become. Meghan wanted that voice. And that's why, again, you could argue the seeds of discontent was sown in there, the rifts, the situation that took place. And Prince Harry, what he has done, he has completely sold his whole family out. He's betrayed them. He has sold his soul to the highest bidder. He has now become a mercenary. And this is why I said you cannot trust people like this. Because guess what's happening? He has completely isolated himself to the point now where, because of the things that's taken place, what he's done in the last year, I'm pretty sure he will be stripped of their titles. Both of them will be, but particularly Prince Harry, he will be stripped of his titles. And why do I call him a mercenary? Why do I say that he should not be trusted? Because of, let's be honest, he's gone full blue pill. He's gone Super Saiyan blue pill. And I'm going to show this article again. Take a little bit of a pinch of salt, because apparently it's not been ratified in regards to some of the deals, but some of them, they are. Some of them are public known. And I'm going to get into it right now. So Meghan Markle and Harry's mega deals that have earned them 150 million, the full list. Now, they're left seeking a life away from the glare of the royal family after becoming disillusioned with their role as part of the firm. Again, in a lot of his interviews, the podcast, they refer to the royal family as the firm. I mean, how disrespectful is that? As a company. I mean, it just, and the thing is, this is his family now. This is what I keep telling you when he said he's completely thrown his family under the goddamn bus. And I'm just like, seriously, could you ever trust somebody like this? And I'm going to tell you why you even can't trust him even more, because of what this article shows. Now, in a matter of months since decided to go it alone, Prince Harry and Meghan have amassed a fortune in corporate deals and lucrative link-ups that have left courtiers in no doubt they will never return to the fold. Now, why do they say that? Why do they say that? Because at the end of the day, if they're taking some, deals and just making a life for themselves, if they're trying to earn money, because at the end of the day, if they're not taking their inheritance or they're not being supported by the royal family, they need to do this, right? It's logical. So the fact that they're getting corporate deals, you're thinking, why should there be no room for return? Well, why do you think that's the case? What do you think the US, or anyone, what do you think anyone cares about when it comes to Prince Harry? Let's just take Prince Harry, for example, because Meghan, she's an actress, so she's in LA, so she knows the way around it. She knows what she can do. She knows how she wants to position herself. But let's take Prince Harry. This is what this live stream is all about. What do you think the US in particular give a shit about when it comes to you? Do they care about do you have any skill set? What skill set do you actually have in regards to, I don't know, are you technologically minded? Are you a good electrician, a plumber? Are you a salesman? Are you a lawyer? You're a doctor? What do you do? What is it that is of worth, which the US audience in particular, if we believe stereotypes, are going to care about? They want to know all your juicy details and gossip about the royal family. Make no bones about it. They don't give a shit about you, who you are. For the most part, Americans don't even care about the royal family like that. They think we care about it more than we do. All right, we don't even care about them that much. So let's continue. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have brokered contracts believed to be worth more than 100 million this year alone, with industry experts predicting that they have the potential to rake in $1 billion. Flipping heck. And we all know what that's all going to be about. Spilling the tea. In January, after spending several weeks in Canada plotting their escape, Harry and Meghan dropped a bombshell statement on Instagram announcing they were stepping back from their royal roles to become financially independent. Oh, absolutely. They're becoming independent, right? Here we take a look at the mega money deals they have sealed since then. So, coffee. See, Meghan listed the help of her billionaire chat show friend Oprah Winfrey to help sell a vegan brand of coffee she has invested in. This is why I believe she wanted to move from the royal family, because guess what she realized once she was in there? She realized that she couldn't actually be the brand Meghan that she thought she could have been. She thought she wanted to be the voice of the young people. She wanted to be able to use her wokeness, her what's the word, pulpit, to be able to preach to the masses, because that's what they've been doing all year long. All year long. This is the thing about this crap about privacy they've been talking about. If they wanted privacy, the last thing I should see themselves is on screen every motherfucking day or week or month. But guess what? Since they've left, I have not stopped seeing them, because when they were in the royal family, I barely saw Prince Harry. I barely saw him. I didn't know what they was even doing. They're probably doing some charity event somewhere. They were doing their ambassador roles. But let's be honest, we have seen them more than ever before. Because let me ask this question. How many of you seen Prince William and Kate do interviews in the same way as you saw Prince Harry and Meghan do interviews? You don't know the reason why. Because in the brand of the royal family, or the firm as they call it, it's all about duty. It's all about the family. It's about something bigger than they are themselves. But unfortunately, again, red pillars, I need to tell you, if this is not classic narcissism, hypergamy, this is not classic red pill rhetoric, retire. But that's why, again, I think Meghan wanted to leave, because she wanted to have her own brand. That's what she wanted the whole way around. That's what she thought it was going to be, but she didn't realize exactly what she was getting herself involved in. The business plans to use the investment to scale its business, which currently sells 4 different kinds of instant lattes, retailing at £21 per packet. Flipping out. Customers buying a pack also get a milk frother and a travel mug. Best get something. The brand also donates 1% of its revenue to food poverty charity in the US. Of course, we're going to hit that wokeness. Industry experts said as an angel investor, a backer who puts cash into fledgling firms, Meghan could use a Dragon Den style system to earn millions, leveraging her global fame to launch products in multiple markets. And this is what it is, leveraging her global fame. But Prince Harry, what's your global fame, eh? What is it that you can provide? Let's continue. So Spotify podcast, 30 million. So the Duchess personally brokered again. The first 2 things you notice is, guess who's leading the charge? Prince Harry, you have completely lost. You are falling behind this woman. And by doing so, the only value that you have is by throwing your family under the bus. The first 2 things that we've gone at, the first 2 deals that's been brokered so far, have all been done by who? Not by you. You're not the one with the contacts. You're not the one who has the cachet. You're not the one who knows what to do. Because let's be honest, what skills do you have? I mean, you could argue, have you even washed yourself? Have you even washed your backside? Have you even done all these things by yourself at your big old age? You haven't. So there's no coincidence why a lot of these things that I keep seeing, people are just completely believing, and I don't believe it fully, that Meghan Markle is the primary reason why you are doing this and why you're saying these things. When they see or hear Prince Harry, whatever he's saying, whatever BS he's saying, all they're seeing is a ventriloquist dummy. All we're seeing is you are doing, or you are following, you're basically a puppet master. You're a puppet, and the puppet master is Meghan Markle. Because again, who brokered the deal? Who did the vegan deal? Who did this deal? She's doing this all for her brand, and you are just falling behind her purpose as opposed to doing it else. You have completely lost yourself. And then by losing yourself, the only thing you can do, let's be honest, is talk about your family, which you are throwing them under the goddamn bus. Let's continue. So the Megabucks Golden Handcuffs Agreement is one of the largest signed in history for a newly formed podcast show. The Duke and Duchess yesterday announced the formation of the new audio production company, Archwell Audio. I mean, Archwell Audio, that's clearly of their son. I mean, this is what I mean when I say I don't believe when they said they wanted to stay out from the limelight. This is why I don't believe it when they said you wanted privacy. You do not go, because guess what it is? You guys want to be celebrities. That's what you want to do. That's what it is. Let's just be real. You have gone to LA to be celebrities, to be the voice of the generation that's meant to preach love and kindness and woke, and we would have to be tolerant to each other by being intolerant to people disagreeing with you. And if anyone disagrees, it's either you're racist or you're this or that. If anyone has a difference of opinion, and this is what Meghan found, because Meghan found that she couldn't charm the UK public as she probably thought she could. She was able to charm Prince Harry and keep him under his thumb, but you couldn't charm the UK public as you thought you could do. Whereas now you're in LA, let's be honest, you're black, you're considered black, you're a woman. Therefore, let's be honest, you really are in kind of a protected position, particularly in this culture, in this era that we're in, particularly again in LA. And this is where Prince Harry, again, you are now a duck out of water. You are no longer in your protection. Even though you probably think you didn't have protection, you do have protection, but now you're completely unprotected. So, announcing their link up, Spotify boasted that it would be an exclusive multi-year partnership, reaching its 144 million premium subscribers and 320 million monthly active users. Spotify have also announced that Harry and Meghan will host a holiday special, which is due to be released in the coming weeks. Netflix documentaries, it gets better and better. Harry and Meghan have already signed a multi-year agreement worth 100 million to produce documentaries and films for the streaming giant. I wonder what theirs is going to be about. The US company agreed to the eye-watering sum despite their pair never having produced content for TV or film. I got to give Meghan credit here. I've really got to give her credit because let's be honest, she has done things in such a short period of time. I'm even shocked myself. I got to give her absolute credit for it. No joke. She is not wasted a lick of time. She has established herself, and let's be honest, as the man in that relationship. She has established herself as being the voice of that relationship. And Prince Harry, you are just the ventriloquist dummy, man. You have gone blue-pilled. You have signed away your goddamn life for this. And I hope to God, and I pray, and I mean this, I hope it's worth it. I really do. Because at the end of the day, if something happens and God forbid they split, I'm telling you, you have severed the links, you've burnt bridges with your family to the degree right now, and it's going to keep continuing worse because with the Spotify podcast, the Netflix documentaries, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think they're going to talk about? What do you think that the US wants to hear about Prince Harry? They want to hear about all the details that took place in your family. And guess what? To keep your woman sweet because she brokered the deal, to keep her on side, to make sure everything's sweet. You know what they say? Happy wife, happy life. And this is what you're falling into. And now it looks like you've completely lost yourself. Now, again, people say, oh, well, he wants this. I don't buy it. I really don't buy this. I don't buy it. If they wanted privacy, if they want to live a normal life, a life where their families could grow up and be normal people, this is not the play. This is why I say I was on your side, Prince Harry. I was on their side a little bit. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's just be calm because, you know, the media in the UK, they can be vicious. But when I see this, I'm sorry. There's something else at play which just needs to be said. And I have to call this out because this is what's going on right now. And I feel sorry again when it comes to their family because I've not heard too much Prince William and Kate really speak out against this. The royal family have said their piece in regards to the things that Prince Harry said, but that's like a joint statement. They're not really individually spoken out. Such is how it operates in the royal family. But the problem is, don't they have feelings like you have feelings? You just throw them completely under the bus with not a care in the world, but you're getting paid for it. So like any mercenary, just get paid. It is what it is. And again, so their production will be exclusive to Netflix, which has 193 million subscribers worldwide. Insiders reveal that content centered on social messages, of course it is, racial justice, gender equality, and the environment feature heavily in the Duke and Duchess's plans, 100%. And then it goes down to Apple TV. But it is a thing, again. These are all the deals that have been brokered since they've left there. So when, as you've read beforehand, how Prince Harry was talking about, oh, I don't want my missus to end up like basically Princess Diana. I want it to be a case of, I want to have a, happy life. I want to be a case. I'm just like this, look, no. This is something which I can't co-sign. I cannot co-sign at all. It's something which, from the sounds of it, it looks as if there may be some hatred there in regards to what's taken place. There may be some resentment there, but you are throwing your family completely under the bus. And I'm thinking, I hope it's worth it. I pray to God, I hope it's worth it. So let's see what's going on in the chat. I appreciate everyone who's joined here today. I appreciate the newcomers. Let me shout out the people who are here, because I don't want to see as if I'm just ranting. I'm not actually paying attention. So I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday afternoon, evening, wherever you are. What's up, Skittles Man? What's up, Vincent? Fiona, how's it going? Who else is in the chat? Myth Twist, how's it going? KB, I appreciate you all stopping by. Please like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new, you're listening to the clouds. If you're listening on the background and the playback, by all means, listen to it again. And the question I just want to ask to the chat is, because there's two angles here that I wanted to get into, which is the reason why probably Prince Harry doesn't see the way how we see it or how I see it is this. He was born into privilege. Now, again, I got to say, I don't believe that just because you're born into a situation, you don't have pain and suffering. I need to clarify this. As a human being, you go through pain regardless of what situation you're in. Even if you think, oh, well, you can't go through that kind of pain, you get a lot of money. But here's the thing. He had a traumatic incident when he was younger. His mother died, let's be honest. And we don't know exactly what could have taken place, the trauma. He couldn't have healed from that. He's been talking about it for God knows how many years. But that's not the point, though. But because he's been born into privilege, he probably doesn't understand the value of what he has. And a lot of times, it's not until you lose that, until you realize the privilege that you've been at. Whereas once you've worked for something, let's be honest, like a Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, or who else am I thinking? Some of those kind of people. If you had worked all your goddamn life to amass that kind of wealth, that kind of status, the hardship, the failures, the constant backbiting, the betrayal, all these kind of things that I'm pretty sure those men have had to go through to get to where they've got to right now, taking all the licks. There is no way, I'm sorry, you would want to give away your life inheritance. I'm sorry, there's no way near. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please, and chat. And here's the thing. This is not just for the men as well, for the women. I got to ask you the question. Women, because let's be honest, a lot of women nowadays, they want a guy who earns a lot of money, because I believe they think the same thing. There's no way near, if you've worked all your life off, your ass off, to get a high-paying job, or even just any job, but what you have, there's no goddamn way that you want somebody else, whether it be a man or a woman, to just take that away from you and lose yourself in the process. Now, again, there are some situations where it probably calls for it. I don't believe this is the case. But let me know, do you think that this is the case where you would give away all your titles, all your success, all your privilege for this situation? Now, I would not do this. I could not do this. I really couldn't. But that's the situation that we find ourselves in. And to top it off, he's also betraying the trust. He's betraying it. This is the thing I want to talk about today. He's betrayed the trust because he's so, and someone said it in the chat. What's up, Sandra? Cock blind. He's so cock blind, it's frightening. Now, again, you said that Meghan played him. She was never going to stand. Here's what I believe. I believe Meghan probably thought it was a platform she could use to leverage her brand to become more than just Meghan Markle, the actress, but become a brand in the royal family. But what she realized is it was the opposite way around. She was going to get lost in the royal family. And because she was going to get lost in the royal family, she couldn't speak. Because again, she said beforehand, and I should get that video. She was asking, do I not have a voice? Now, granted, I'm not saying she shouldn't have a voice, but for me, it triggered something different, particularly after the events that we saw over the last year or so. She wanted that voice because guess what? With all the adventures that's been taking place so far, her speaking engagements, I think I saw a speaking engagement that she was a part of, which people, to hear her speak, which I've got no idea what she was even speaking about, they had to pay like 10K to hear her speak. On what exactly? What? I mean, this is not a person who's saving your goddamn life. Why would someone pay 10K? But such is the brand value. Such is what I believe her narcissism has taken place. And this is the reason why I'm just saying, I would not give away all this kind of stuff. I don't care. It's just madness. But this is why I think Prince Harry's done it. Because again, as people have been saying in the chat, he's either cockblind, he's gone blue pill simped. It is unbelievable. And this is something which I'm just like, man, watch out for these kind of people, because they would backstab and betray anyone. And unfortunately, I hope this doesn't happen, but it's going to come in for a rude awakening, because the American audience aren't warming to him as they think he would. what he's tried to do is he's tried to fit in with the American audiences. So if you listen to his podcast, he was trying to sound a little bit less posh. He was trying to sound a little less, received pronunciation. He was trying to, soften his T's, and he was trying to come across as more one of them to the American people. And you could tell instantly he's losing himself. He's trying to change himself. He's transforming himself. Now, I don't believe that's for 1 second that's who he is. People argue differently, but I don't believe that's the case. But already you can tell what's happening. He is not standing up as himself. He's trying to accommodate somebody else. And of that, you can tell the things that he's doing. I don't think that's what he wanted to do, or I don't think that's his best lane. But let's be honest, once you're a duck out of water, you're going to have to try and adapt some way, somehow. But the problem is, Prince Harry, the problem is, no one's going to see you as one of them because you are the epitome of white privilege. Let me say that one more time. Prince Harry, you are the epitome of white privilege. So there's no way near, however you're trying to soften your voice, make it sound a little bit more friendly. Listen, I get it. You want everyone to be, you want to be on their side, all that kind of stuff. I understand the need for it. There's probably some PR stunts behind it. But listen, this is something which they ain't going to see you as one of them, because they see you as someone from a completely distant lane, a distant situation. And it is true. It's even for us, because let's be honest, they're on our back doorstep. Me and the royal family are like night and day, north and south. There is no connection anywhere. It's not something that we can aspire to be to. You're just born into it, and it is what it is. And yeah, KB, you said it in the chat. He reminds me of one of those guys that will backstab his friends to impress, getting good with a woman. 100%. And this is what I mean. You can't trust these guys. You can't trust these kind of men. And think about this. They've been trying to build bridges with him ever since this situation took place, quietly behind the scenes. This is what the royal family do. They like to keep things quiet behind the scenes. They like to have a good PR image, they like to have a good press. But the problem is, with a man like this, you cannot do this, because guess what? With all the deals he's brokered, guess what's going to happen? And guess what the fear is? He's going to spill it all, or they, as a partnership, are going to spill it all, because you guarantee Prince Harry has only got really Meghan, so he's going to be spilling the tea to her, and then you know what it is. It is what it is. Everything's going to get out. So this is why I'm just like this. Listen, you cannot trust men like Prince Harry, or just men in general who are on this path. You just have to make sure that you disseminate information carefully and just keep your eye on it, because I'm telling you, this person will backstab you, and the backstabbing is going to continue, and it's all going to end in complete pain. It's not something which, and here's the thing I thought, I'm like, Prince Harry, you could have a pick of pretty much, I won't say any woman, but you can have a pretty pick of a pretty decent batch of women. And again, my red pillars, my UK red pillars, if you listen to this, God damn it, get on this. Isn't it amazing how he chose Meghan Markle? Now, if you leave the stories, again, Meghan Markle's past is checkered at best. I think she was divorced twice. I know she was definitely divorced once, but I want to say twice. And apparently it's because, again, hypergamy, she wanted to marry up. She wasn't settled. She wasn't content. And guess what she happened to latch onto? Prince Harry. Now, again, believe the stories as you want to. There's certain stories that said it was a blind date. She didn't know anything about Prince Harry, the royal family, all this kind of stuff. I scream BS on that. But again, red pillars, you need to be on this. Be on this if you're on that little lane. But for me, I'm just talking about the issue of here where he's Super Saiyan blue pilled. And he's going to enter into Super Saiyan 2 blue pilled with the situation that's taken place, the deals that he's brokered, because the only thing of use that Prince Harry has is, guess what? His privilege, his stories, and what took place. So that's what I want to talk about today. Because can you trust a guy like this? Could you trust a guy who clearly has shown himself through who he is and what he is, and how he has completely lost himself? He's cut blind. He's gone completely over to the deep end. He has foregone everything. And if he wasn't here at the start, I played a scene from Coming to America, the first one. And the scene was when Prince Hakeem, played by Eddie Murphy, he was willing himself to sell his own birthright to be with the woman, to be with his bride. That's what he was willing to do. That's what he was willing to do. Now, people think that, oh, that's so romantic. Oh, that's so good. But guess what? This is the price that we're seeing in real life with Prince Harry. He's pretty much sold his titles, because it's all but name right now. And I guarantee he's going to get stripped. He sold everything for this pussy. That's what he's done. That's what I want to say. And he's done it, and he's betrayed and backstabbed, and he's continuing to backstab. He's backstabbed his father, betrayed his brothers, everything. Now, again, I'm going to say this to be fair and balanced. There are some things which, as a man, you do want to protect your woman from, even if it is your own family. I do get that. But there's one thing which I always thought to myself, and maybe it's just probably because of me and my family dynamics. But there's one thing which I always think that I never want to sever the cord to my family so badly that it's just irreparable. Because I've seen situations where partners they aren't getting along with their family, and it's just like because again, Meghan Markle, if you look at her past as well, she does not have a great relationship with her family. She has come across as very narcissistic. Again, believe what you want to believe, but this is what's come up as she comes across. She's very ambitious. She's headstrong. She knows what she wants, and she will seem to step on anyone to get what she wants. So there's no. So for me, there's just a clear link as to how her family dynamic has been, which has been very damaged and checkered, and now how Prince Harry's relationship seemed to have just, I don't know, I won't say magically just seemed to deteriorate, but do you not see the connection here? And how Prince Harry has lost himself in that source purely because of, guess what? My man's drunk. My man's blue pill drunk. He's caught blind, and this is what's taken place. This is what's happened. And it's unfortunate because, God damn it, man, this is a situation where anyone who has anything worth holding on to like this, I mean, there's certain things which, oh my days, there's no woman, and there should be, if you're a woman, there should be no man on earth that should make you want to give up everything you've worked for it. Seriously, it is absolutely crazy. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna open the chat to see what you guys thought of. If you want to come on the chat, I'm gonna open up the panel. But what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think this is something which could you ever see yourself in a situation where you have a family member, and let's say the reports are true. Let's say, because obviously the Oprah Winfrey interview exposed apparently racism. She was silenced. She was, you could say, a security. Her privacy was intruded with the UK press. She didn't feel protected. So, all in honesty, she didn't feel protected. Now, my question is, how would you handle it? Because I've got to be honest with you, there's a little bit in me what says, you know what, I understand taking away from that sort of protection, but now this is where for me, I can't side with Prince Harry and what they've been doing, because now it just seems to be, no, you know what, it has nothing to do with that. That's just an excuse. That's just, for me, something to say, oh, that's the reason why. That's, again, part of the whole, she's an actress. That's just part of the whole storyline, because that's what it is. It's a great storyline. It's a great situation where, let's be honest, particularly if you just needed one route, one path out there, and this is what they've taken. This is what it seems to be. But man, I would not, on God's green earth, do this. But again, I will say this: I wouldn't trade my life for Prince Harry anyway, even before this mess. So I would not want to be a royal family, because I don't know what it's like to live in privilege. I don't know what it's like for my complete privacy and security to be complete tarnished. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of things what happens on these YouTube streets, which gets people shook. So think about that times 1,000. Matter of fact, times 1,000,000. So there's certain things I will say I definitely did agree with them on the privacy and the security part, because of what happened to not only themselves but also his mother. But oh my days, this is not something at all which I can co-sign, because of what they've been doing, the deals that they've been brokering, and how this has all come across. He has completely betrayed everyone who has loved him. And even though the Queen, it seems, has kept her dignity, and the royal family for the most part haven't bickered back. They haven't released any information, because keep this in mind as well, Prince Harry, you're not innocent in this neither. Let's be honest. There was a picture of you which you were dressed in a Nazi uniform. Do you remember that? He was pictured in a Nazi uniform. So we talk about racism, we talk about structured white supremacy, we talk about all these kind of things which drove Meghan Markle out, which is why you took your ass and fell behind her. But let's be honest, it wasn't like you yourself are innocent and clean. I've not heard that spoken yet. In this whole series of interviews that he's been doing over the last year, I have not seen him say, you know what, I made some mistakes. You know what, I was like this. You know what, I've done this. I've heard him just throw everyone under the bus, but as every typical blue pill SOB, no introspection. No introspection. And that's exactly what has happened. And this is where we've led to this situation we're in now. And this is why, man, it's gone to a situation where it's not even funny anymore. It's not even the funny. So again, thanks to everyone who's been there. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Please, if you're new, subscribe, like the stream, share the stream. Let's see what everyone's saying. So yeah. Yeah, there's been a bit of gaslighting, to be fair. I'm so mixed on it, because I just don't trust anything that comes out their mouth some of these times. So I just don't know. I don't know. But I mean, to this one, Sandra, I will say this. I think some people have come out to try and almost um, pull him aside and say, hold back and don't burn all your bridges. But I think it's just too late. I think it's just a case of he's now headstrong. He's obviously his own man. And I think that's part of the issue that growing up he had. Because there are some things which growing up he did seem like he was a bit different than Prince William. I do think as if he felt as if he was the odd one out. There've been some conspiracy theories about whether Prince Charles is his actual father. So I don't know whether there's something that we don't know. Apparently, was it James Hewitt or something like that who's his father? So there could be something like that as with it. So he's always felt different. He's always felt like he wasn't supposed to be here. I don't know, because again, Princess Diana, she wasn't part of the royal family now, was she? I think she was the first person who married into the royal family like that. I want to say that kind of started the wave, if you like. So that's why Princess Diana was so huge back in the day, purely because she wasn't related. She wasn't of high status. Like even Kate Middleton, she's not that level, but if you look at her history and her background, she's still of a very, 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 very high level in terms of her status. It's just very high. So yeah, but absolutely, there should have been someone saying, "Don't burn all your bridges." There's certain, and the thing is, he knows this. I think he does. He knows exactly what he shouldn't and should say, because he, of all people, knows about duty, because he's been born and raised in the thing. It's not as if he's just been drafted in or something like that. He's been there since birth, so he knows exactly what he should be doing. And even now, last year, he's been clearly, and I mean this, he's been clearly violating some of the privileges that he should have, or maybe the oaths that he took, because the royalty should be impartial. So again, this is where Meghan Markle, it comes into place, where during the US election, they were speaking out in regards to the US election. Now, Meghan, she's a US citizen. She has all the right to. Prince Harry should have been no way near that scene, but he was right with her. Again, you got to look at the optics. You got to look at what's going on. You got to look at who's leading the situation. He was right there talking about, oh, this is a vote for change. This is a vote to end hate. This is a vote to make sure we live in a tolerant land and all this kind of other BS. And then like, his whole words, his whole speech, everything is it's LA woke garbage agenda. And you can tell it has her footprints all over it. So to answer the point in regards to, are there any mates you should hold them aside? At this stage, I think it's too late. At this stage, it's too late, because, skills man, just remember, peace leave is one hell of a drug. And this is it. This is it. So at this stage, it is just too late for him. He has completely crossed over to the other side. And it's going to take something to take place. It's going to take that moment, that red pill moment. For some people, it takes longer. For a royal family, it can take a hell of a lot longer because of he's been born in privilege. So this is why it's just one of those things where he's completely lost to the dark side. And I don't know, man. It's gone to a stage where, is it ever recoverable? I don't know. But my question is, would you ever trust a guy? Could you ever build a trust factor with a guy like this, or men like this? KB, welcome to the stream. How's it going?
How you doing, bro? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. How's it going on this Sunday evening for you?
Yeah. I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me on. Um, right, we was talking in the chat, and this is interesting. All right, first of all, in terms of Megan, look, guys, I don't proper dislike her. I'm not her biggest fan, yeah, but I agree with you, bro. My problem's not even her. Do you know what? More power to her, I will say. First of all, more power to her, because let's just break it down. A black chick got to marry a royal. I mean, who would have thought it? Do you know what I mean? Like, well done. Like, first of all, well done, yeah.
What? But, sorry, just got you on that one, because I don't want to go off topic, but you know when that took place? Do you know when? Because I saw this, and I don't care. I'm going to say it. A dark-skinned black woman in the UK crying. Meghan Markle saying, "Thank you. You've almost like." I won't say saved us, but you've given us a voice. And I'm like, hold on, Meghan. I'm sorry. If she says that she's black, I do agree with it. But I'm telling you, she was crying. I'm going to get it up in a second. But she was crying about Meghan Markle being married into the royal family. I'm like, listen, how could you say this is a win for black women? I don't know how you can say that. You know what I mean? It's so typical.
I know. That did confuse me a bit, especially around that period of time. There seemed to be a lot of quite a bit of animosity between, say, darker and lighter skinned black women.
I mean, this was the whole.
But you know what, Fiona? I can see your chats. No, you got to admit there was tons of black chicks that were celebrating that wedding. Come on, you've got to be honest. there was bare. Like, 'cause you're right, bro. There was so I'm not surprised she
No,
was crying, bro.
I'm gonna look for the image. I know I saw it. I know I did because I was like, I was gonna do like a video on it. I was like, oh my days, who's not picked this up? I was crying, saying thank you. I was like, what are you crying for?
Bro, I mean, I get. Do you know what? I get it, innit? I get it. I get the. But this is where I have an issue, and this is where these sort of things. I was like, this and that. Do you know what? Yeah, because she does have a bit of a checkered past. She's already been married before. She's already had a bit of a failed marriage. Yeah, she's got, like, in terms of even, let's not even the royals themselves per se, the British royals, but just in, a royal bloodline generally, there's going to be certain traits that, the box are going to need to be ticked, and even having a decent relationship with her parents should have been one of them. Do you know what I mean? She was an actress. She has got she was an alleged Hollywood sleeper around. I'm not being deep. I've heard that she's been around. Like, do you know what I mean? Even when, did someone say it in a chat, or do you say it, bro? When he first saw her, someone showed her in a magazine and he was like, oh, she's hot. So, even with all his money, all his white privilege, all his actual royalty, it still came down to that sort of, like you're saying, that simp loophole reaction. Oh, who's this painting in the magazine? I'm gonna get, like, bruv, like, I put it back down to him. Now, do you know what? Yeah, the only thing I'll say with her is, and I don't know if this is her doing what some mixed race people do. I've got to be honest, especially females, is when they switch between the races when they feel like it, because you see this whole, this kind of racism thing that come out, yeah, whatever, yeah, how do you want to paint it? When I saw the headline, I literally was like, this woman's an idiot. Did you read, like, did she really think it was going to be plain sailing? She kind of did the whole naive, I didn't see this coming type thing, and that's what got on my nerves. Because when they got together, I was thinking, do you know what? Yeah, I know you're Canadian and you're mixed race and whatever, and I don't know, you're used to a certain environment, yeah. But over in England, yeah, like, don't get it twisted. There's a lot of people in England that still believe in the pure English blood type, especially with the royals. The royals are sacred to this country. People really feel strongly about the royals. So for you to come in and step into this role, I hope you're prepared, love. I was thinking that. And obviously one or two things will come, and then obviously this will come out, will start to happen, and obviously this whole thing with the family. And what annoyed me is that she seemed ill prepared, and that annoyed me, because she should have seen this coming. She already works in media, so she knows how this works. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's the misdirection. Again, I do not believe I don't believe, of all people, based on her past, if you look at how she's moved from so many different areas of her life to get to where she got to now, there's no way now I believe for 1 second she did not come. I won't say she's the most prepared, but there's certain things where I heard, I'm like, you're a liar. You're a complete liar. Because again, especially women, once they like somebody, they'll try and find out everything about you. They'll speak to their friends. They'll Google you. They'll do social media. Women are master detectives. So I do not believe on any circumstances that she would not have tried to at least Google this man and said, oh, he's a part of the royal family. Because let's be honest, Prince Harry, he sounds like he's from a certain cloth. It's not as if he sounds like just a normal guy. So I thought to myself, there's no way near I just believe, oh, we just swept off their feet and I didn't even think about anything. I'm like, are you serious? This guy takes you to cottages. This guy takes you to all these kind of places. You're not going to find out who this man is. So I never believed that. I don't think that she knew everything about the royal family. I'll give her that. But the whole notion that she had no idea about Prince Harry and she would just come, so, oh, he's a Cinderella. Oh, please.
I know. And I mean, she's like Canadian, right? And I know Canadian, not Canadian. Canadian. Canada's a bit more like she lives life on easy mode in Canada. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if she was used to that. Well, sometimes, like, yeah, go on, bro.
I was gonna say she does live in LA though. I would say this. So
oh yeah, fair play.
Yeah. She was like born and raised in LA, not Canada. I think she might have been born in Canada, but she was like, for all parts, she's
okay. So she's from Canada. Yeah. Okay. Now, even in terms of him, just like you're saying, do you know what? I'm not even 100% surprised, because truth be told, and again, I've grown up with and known one or two white guys. Some white guys, because to him, like, you got to remember, to him, obviously, she's like I said earlier, she's a painting. Obviously, he wouldn't say. Actually, he might nowadays. You never know with him. But like some guys, regardless of their status, like okay, maybe he won't fit in the you know, the ideal looks category, but he's got the status, he's got the wealth, and certainly got the privilege. Do you know what I mean? And got the family backing, etc. So for him to sort of fall for somebody just based off that, because also on his, you know, talking about her researching him, you would have thought, I'm sure he researched her. Do you know what I mean? So I was a bit surprised he picked her. If I was a bit honest, I was a bit surprised.
Yeah, that's something that surprised me a little bit. Again, like you said, being a royal, one of the things that they'll do is they'll make sure they'll vet her. So one of the things which even I thought would do was vet the person that you with. And but again, I think he thought she was
He was infatuated, bro.
she's painting in it. So I was like, that's all we saw. That's what I think it is. But
and then she laid it on him, bro, and then that was it, bro. You know that she laid it on him, bro. Bro, he bro. Oh mate, you can imagine, bro. Like she stuck it on him, and then she talked to him a couple of times, bro. That was it. He was off blood. He was off blood. Oh my gosh. But like you're saying, in terms of like how he's going on in terms of sort of putting the family aside. Now I know sometimes, obviously, you know, sometimes relationships, you know, they can get a bit sticky between, say, your family and the personal people you're with or whatever. But you know, like I was saying in the chat, the way he's doing it is a bit like, you know, when some guys, you know, they act a bit funny, or they change they kind of like backstab their friends in certain ways. And some people do that with their family. They get with, essentially, I mean, would it be fair to say she's the girl of his dreams? Because, you know, something like that. I would assume so, right? Because
I think based on what I've been seeing and hearing, it must be. That's probably maybe the finest woman he's been with. You know it is, and
you know what I mean.
Can't bear to lose her, and I get that's what it is. So maybe that's what it is.
Possibly. I mean, let's talk about aesthetically. Yeah, she's mixed. She's black. She's mixed or whatever. But let's be honest. She's light enough. She's pretty enough for that realm. The way she sort of comes across, she's been media trained. There's certain things that will sort of fit the mold as well. Like some people saying if she was dark skinned, then you know, Fiona says she looks like she's got that good. Oh my days!
Around it, let's not even get there. That's what it is. You know when you got that good.
Oh my days! And then she got pregnant, and then that was it. He's loving life. But do you know the whole you know the point when they was first having angst with the family, and they was like, okay, we're taking the baby, we're going to Canada. And I was thinking, oh, okay, like this is getting a bit like, you know, and it started to get on her case in a bit as well. And I didn't like that, to be honest. It was kind of making out like, oh, like she's telling you what to do and you're letting her. But again, it's one of them where this is all derailing, and I think mainly from him, because it's like he wasn't prepared. Because she can only say so much. Even if she come out all guns blazing and like bat swinging, he has to be the one to be like, yeah, but yeah, bro, he's crumbling. He's crumbling under questioning, bro. Yeah.
And the problem is, again, he's being led by her. This is the number one thing, which you can just see it. She's the one who's leading the relationship. She's the one who's setting the tone. Again, they went to Canada and went to LA, her home pit. She decided where they want to live, where they want to go. Again, in regards to everything that's taken place, it has her footprints on everything in terms of she's the deal breaker. She's the one who's introducing Prince Harry to all these people like Oprah Winfrey and all these other famous A-listers. All what she needed here. I think Prince Harry seems to need Meghan more than Meghan needs Prince Harry. All Meghan needed was that lit that in, I suppose, to get their brand. But now it's a case of Meghan's taking that and gone. Yeah. I think once she has her brand situated how it is, I think she'll ditch him. I think she'll ditch him by the wayside. And that's when that moment's going to click for him. I hope not. But that's what it seems to me that it's sort of going to evolve.
I agree. I mean,
she's divorced the guy twice. If she's been divorced twice, then what's a third time?
Bro, even when because I didn't know that at first, and because I didn't really care too much to delve into her, and then obviously the more publicity about her, I heard that, and I was like, oh, that surprises me. And then like her age and all that. I mean, she's not old, but like, do you know what I mean? It surprised me because I thought, okay, there's obviously a reason why you didn't go for, you know, what you may consider a pretty English white girl who's younger, like no previous marital history, comes from a certain family, etc. I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Me too. I mean, again, I'm like, you red pillars, man. We were talking post-war woman past her 30s with a divorce history, and oh my days, run with this one, run with this one. But yeah, Myth Twist, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. I've just listened to what you guys were saying, to be honest. But yeah.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts about about this topic at all? Do you want to share, or you just want to just chill?
Yeah, no. I wouldn't come up here just to chill. No.
I know. I like you were gonna like.
No. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, to me, it's just like this has been going on for a bit now, where pretty much since the start of their whole marriage and stuff, is kind of just been like this, and this is just what a lot of modern guys are on, regardless of their station or rank in life. This is just what they do. Like, and truth be told, most guys, I think, are built like him, and they will continue to be built like him. Because the thing is, like, the way I always look at things like this is, oh, if I was a prince and I had all these things, there'd be no stopping me. It's like, that's how I view it. But the thing is that a lot of guys, and this happens with just regular dudes, like a regular guy that doesn't have much, once he starts getting resources and he starts having access to things, you start seeing that he now has the ability to get the things he couldn't get before. And then I'm not talking about Prince Harry specifically, because he was always royalty, but just in general, the average guy, when they get like certain things, they start to do these same types of behaviors. Like, you'll have a guy that had no money and he's like, no girls liked him and blah, 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 or certain types of girls didn't like him, whatever. Then he gets money, gets some status, some fame. Now those types of girls like him, obviously, because he's got these things. And it's like his brain doesn't register that that's the reason. He just views it like some girl comes up to him, she's like, yeah, I just want to be with you and have a family and blah, blah. And because you're talking about background check, look, man, I'm sure he knew stuff about her, but at the end of the day, what a lot of it is they just don't care. They just don't care. Like, they just want what they want. And especially if they've got some level of resources, they just feel like, whatever, like, that's what I want. Now, I don't know.
Wouldn't you say that? I agree with you, bro, but wouldn't you say that would somewhat be like someone in his position, yeah, and full well knowing how the media are with his family, and the English media, when they want to be all intrusive, like they're not exactly, their family's not exactly like hidden away. Do you know what I mean? Isn't that kind of high risk? Because now you see how the media's turned on them. Now they're all on the defensive, and it's like, well, you knew this was going to come at some point, right? Or nah. Or should I not say that because he's a royal? Because I think in his case, like, especially, do you know what I mean? It's oh, nah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, to answer your question, KB, and obviously if you can come in on this, because I think it was asking you, but yeah, he of all people should have known exactly what Meghan was going to be in for, because again, who would know better than the man who would have seen his own mother being, you could argue, killed because of this intrusion. So I don't understand how he wouldn't have at least tried to his best, because you can never prepare someone for it until you're in it. But at least say, look, understand this. You're going to get involved in this situation, particularly if you're going to become a wife. It's different if it's just kind of, a girlfriend thing. But now you're engaged and you're married. It's a whole new ballpark. Because obviously he's had girlfriends beforehand and you've never really seen that kind of intrusion. There's been a couple of always picture with so-and-so girl, so-and-so woman, but it's never been like this. And a lot of it's because, again, it's to that next level of, okay, now they're married. So I don't know.
It's this dominated man mentality, man. Like, this is just common now. This is just how a lot of guys are. Like, if a woman's strong and tough and can lead them, they're gonna submit to the woman. It's like, I think he probably is used to a lot of girls who maybe defer to him because he's a prince. Meghan wasn't on that, and so he just followed her. Like, that's just what it seemed like to me, because I can't see any other logical explanation behind it. There's no way he has any strength in himself and accepted that dynamic. He's in that dynamic because she's telling him what's what. And he probably ain't had that type of energy in that type of way before. I don't know. But there's no other real logical explanation for it.
And one thing I want to ask, because this is when you first said about how most men are built this way, and I was like, I agree, but you just said something which I was going to ask you, is like, how is it possible that a royal family, that Roy would be on that? Because if anyone should be more leaning towards red pill and all this kind of other stuff, I thought it would be the royal family, because they're all about, listen, you are the prince, you are the prize. Let's be honest, from a young'un, he would have had women, everyone just swooning over him. He would have had almost the world, obviously the UK and the world at his own fingertips. So
even when he was little, I've seen news clips of when they were little, they were swooning over them then. Like,
I mean, this is a guy who was stripped naked in Las Vegas. This is a guy who wore the Nazi uniform. This is the guy who, let's be honest, who can tell him anything? So it's interesting.
Exactly. Who could tell him anything? And then someone did tell him everything, and he was like, shit, I ain't dealt with that before. Look, there's a lot of guys. There's a reason why dominatrix is a thing, okay? Like, at the end of the day, there's guys who want women to step on their balls. They want it. And you'll find a lot of the guys that have it, do have power. They do have resources. It's usually a lot of the guys who have a lot of things going for themselves. Like, I personally do not get it. It's like the furthest thing away from how I am. I don't understand. Like, I somewhat see the appeal to an extent. I think every guy kind of sees the appeal in a woman who's got a bit of in it. Like, you can kind of find it attractive, but the thing is, for me, if I see that, my view is like, it's attractive, like only as far as a challenge. It's not attractive in, oh, I want her to dominate me. Like, but there's guys where that is what their thing is. Like, they want to be told what to do. And I think we're thinking because he's a prince, he's somehow immune to that. But he's just a man like anyone else. And just like there's men out there in day to day who want to be dominated, there he is. Maybe his brother won't go for that, and that's why he ain't on that with that type of woman. But it's just variance in men's personalities. Some guys just, I don't know, for some reason they're just like that. And in this society in particular, you're gonna get more guys like that because a lot more guys are raised to think that's like good or whatever. So I think he's trying to be a man of the times. We can see it in a lot of things he's doing. And Meghan is a woman of the times. So if he's trying to get with the times today, he shouldn't get a woman like Kate Middleton, because that's more traditional. Like, if he's trying to be some modern male, then he is going to be like, this is exactly what a modern male's relationship looks like. In not all of guys, but I'm talking, if we're going by what social media and society is telling us is a healthy relationship right now, it's not to be a masculine guy, because a masculine guy is being classified as toxic. So him letting the woman lead or tell him what's what, that's why a lot of women are like, yeah, this is good, this is right, this is, there should be more men like Harry, let your woman make a decision. Like, there's a lot of them who say that, and but I don't know. I think there's a lot of women who don't like Meghan as well. But I think a lot of them are just jealous, truth be told, because I think if they could be in her position doing what she's doing, a lot of them would. But it also plays into why a lot of women don't feel like they have to listen to guys. Because if you're seeing a woman like that get into that position, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's hard to look at that and say, I should act any different. Because you're just going to look at it and think, well, why can't I be like Meghan? Why should I have to listen to a guy? Why should I take orders? You know what I mean? So it just further makes things just, I don't know, the mess.
No, you're right. And I think you hit the nail on the head in regards to he's acting like almost the modern male or the modern man, and she's acting like the modern woman, which is, like you said, the roles are pretty much reversed. I mean, I will say this. I still believe that the modern man and modern woman, the roles aren't this reverse or this lopsided, at least to me. When I picture it, of course, obviously everyone has their own different picture of what the modern man looks like. A lot of people say they're completely just, blue pill simps who just get stepped all over. But I do think there's a bit more balance to it, where in this relationship, I'm seeing kind of, it's all, for me, how it looks one-sided so much, where it's like, Harry, where's your balls at? Because again, he's completely cut off his family. He's left the continent. He's gone to a place where, again, I'm saying this, and I'll say this every single time. If you wanted to get away from privacy, you want for privacy reasons, secrecy, for all that kind of stuff, cool, I got you. You don't go to California, you don't go to LA, you don't go into the bull pit that is celebrity focused media who are to take a picture when you shit. You know what I mean? Just average TMZ type reporters. So I'm just like, listen, clearly, I mean, I won't call him the modern male in that sort of sense, but maybe he is. Again, he's that new breed of modern male where it's just she's got his balls in her person. Like you said, a lot of men on that sort of level, they do like to be
but the thing is, I'm saying modern male because I rarely see anything but this. Like, I don't know, like there's guys who they think they're running things, but when I'm looking at the situation, really they're in either some type of legal situation or something tied up where really the woman's running shit. Like, it's on some level the woman's got some power over the guy. Like, I don't really see, even if a guy thinks it ain't like that. And that's why I say that women right now are superior to men, and they're smarter than guys are, because at the end of the day, they understand these things, or at the very least, they're better at utilizing these things and playing them. Like, when you was reading the article, he was going through all the things, and Meghan Markle, like you said, she's on this stuff, like she's trying to do things like this entrepreneurial spirit kind of thing. I'm not being funny or anything, but I often say this is why there is a lack of respect for men, because I guarantee that if Meghan did just sit back, I doubt Harry would be out there doing all this kind of stuff, like going as hard the way she's going as hard. So it's like, boy, well, like, again, like, you're gonna, from a woman's perspective, you're gonna look at this and think he ain't about shit anyway. She's the one doing everything. So you're just gonna, it's further playing into the narrative that it's, the whole superwoman narrative and that the women are better. And right now they are. And when I look at most guys, even if they think, oh, Harry's just, he shouldn't be doing that, I think where most people are drawing the line is with his family. I think that's where most people are drawing the line. I don't think they're drawing the line with the dynamic between him and Meghan. They're drawing the line because they're seeing how it's having ramifications with his own family. And that's where I think a lot of guys probably wouldn't, where they might differ from him. Might. And that's a big might, because honestly, I don't know with some of these dudes. But I think I'm just like, I don't, when you was asking about if you would trust this, it's a straight up no from me, because I don't trust a lot of guys, because a lot of them are like this. And the problem is that a lot of guys think they're not. But they haven't, usually they've not been in a position to find out yet. So they don't really know, which is, again, why I often say a lot of guys are red pill by a circumstance and not choice, because they don't know what it's like to be around a woman they really, really like and to have that access.
Pick the right one. Everyone says that they're alpha and everyone says that they're red pill until you pick the right woman or the right guy. You know how women are, I don't need a man for this. Pick the right one. And like you said, once they're put in that position, then we're going to see exactly how you act. Because again, I've seen things with my own eyes where flipping heck, this guy will backstab you in a heartbeat for this woman. I couldn't even believe that shit. But you're right. It's how it is. And I think, I do think people do draw the line when it comes to the family dynamic. Because that's where I think for majority, I say the most part of the UK, we do like to at least hold some fondness for the royal family. And what's happening now is the royal family has just been broken apart. It's breaking apart right now, because there's even been talks of trying to republicanize the UK by disbanding the royal family, obviously modernize it. So there's been a lot of things which has, again, Meghan Markle's footprints and her everything that's been taking place over the last year, it has her everything on it in regards to how the royal family has just been almost now a shadow of itself in terms of its image, its prestige, how it's viewed upon. And a lot of people, let's be honest, they hold her solely responsible for it. Now, do I think it's solely her? No. I do think this is where, for me, Prince Harry, I do hold you the most responsible, because at the end of the day, you picked her. You did. You picked her to begin with. At the end of the day, she could have been there available, but you picked her. Whether or not you didn't care about vetting her because you liked her and all this kind of other stuff, it is what it is. But this is where I say he is the one who, for me, holds the majority of this blame, regardless of the dynamics of the relationship, because he picked it.
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. Because to me, the next, I mean, I was thinking about while you guys were talking, I was thinking, and don't get me wrong, I don't consider Meghan Markle to be like this mouthy colored chip. Do you know what I mean? Like how they may try and perceive sometimes. I think she's quite calm most of the time, but as you know, as it seems quiet, the situation, she seems to be leading the charge. But I was trying to think of the next other woman I could think of in terms of in and around the royal family that possibly had a bit of like their own headway. And the only person I can think of was Camilla, right? Charles's mistress, not mistress, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And he, even though we saw in certain places, there's the whole thing of they were basically together, but it was never really publicized. He still didn't, regardless of what was going on, no matter how bad it was, he still made a point of keeping her at bay. Do you know them ones? Like, I could never have seen like Charles like bought for his family for Camilla. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't see, I don't see it happening. So yeah, I do agree with you lot. I think it is a bit of the modern man thing, even in terms of, let's be honest, what she looks like, the chick he went for. It's a modern coupling, isn't it? It's a nowadays thing. But yeah, bro, yeah. But do you know what? Do you know what it shows? So even the royal family themselves are either quite delicate anyway, or something, because the way this thing's whole derailed it. Yeah, as I said, she could be a lot worse. Like, she could be a lot worse than, especially how they're perceiving her to be, and it's derailing the whole family. But it is down to him. He chose her, and now, do you know, bruv? I mean, he ain't even got to be a royal. I know we're talking about him being a royal. I'm not trying to single him out even just because of that, but even just being a white guy for most white families, let's be honest, yeah. Like, that there's certain things that come with bringing just certain females into the family. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So he would have known certain unwritten rules, bro. Like, so this whole, oh, what's going on? Okay, do you know what? F my family type thing, bro. Did he really think his mum was like, not even his mum, sorry, his gran and his family were gonna be like happy? Like, let's be honest, like, they weren't, bro.
Absolutely. I mean, again, if you look at the stress that Princess Diana had to bear to be married into the royal family, I'm just like, how he must have known. He must, because obviously he lived with the family all his life, and he knows exactly the rules, written and unwritten, in regards to, because they would have talked about this. I'm sure they would have. This is what I mean when I say it's interesting how this dynamic of Prince Harry being blue pilled, because of all the people who you think, and of all the families who really should at least be more red pilled, just because of who they are, the ramifications of if they can get things wrong or how things are. It's just interesting because they should know exactly who to bring in the household and who is not going to be accepted into the household. Now, it may not even be about race thing, but let's just take the race thing, for example, because that's what you're talking about. But he must have known, listen, don't you be messing up my DNA with no half breed. You know what I mean?
Bro, like, let's just be honest. Them conversations happened, bro. Yeah. Of course they did.
This is it. Now, again, I don't know whether they said it or if it's some other distant cousin, because again, there were some reports to say that they were just having a conversation about, I wonder what the complexion of the child is going to be like.
Oh.
Even though I'm like, if I hazard a guess based on how Meghan's shade is and how Prince Harry's shade is, now black people can produce, even if they're light skinned, dark skinned children and vice versa. But nah, I would have knew
children's going to be white passing, bro. They're going to be white passing.
I would have knew that was going to be the case, but I think she still considers the child black, both of them. So yeah, but absolutely, I'm like, some of the conversations he should have known better, but again, he fell for the peace leave, and he did not care. And again, being that modern male, he doesn't care, and he's willing to subject to the law that is, again, Meghan Markle's. Now he's subjected to her law. He's submitted to her. He is now basically the wife. That's what it is. Because again, seriously, the article, and Myth Twist said this as well. There's no way near on God's green earth, once they went to LA, Prince Harry was going to be making these deals. No. It's Meghan. She was the go-getter. She's the man. She's the breadwinner. She's the one who's getting all these speaking engagements. She's the one who's keeping their name in the spotlight. So guess what? People are still going to see value in them. I'm saying this. Let's be honest. What can Prince Harry what value is he to the world? Outside of his royalty, what value does he have to the world? I'm struggling. What skills does he have? I mean, again, this is a guy born in privilege. Not his fault. But this isn't a guy who's known for his intellectualism. He didn't get good grades in school. He's not sort of a doctor. Now he was in the Royal Air Force, but again, that's all duty. And if you look at the what he was doing, it wasn't anything much. It was minor. I think he was doing a couple of things, and then when the real sort of like skirmishes took off, they basically said protect him. So he wasn't like on the front lines. It was just one of them pieces where you have to serve because that looks good as being a royal and serving. But it's like, this is the guy, and unfortunately, this is the modern male where it seems like, and it's a bad look for us as well. It's really a bad look for us, where it's a case of you have this guy being brought to his knees and the family being brought to the knees from a person who, again, let's be honest, a post-war, twice divorcee. It just looks bad. It just looks bad.
Bro, it does. Listen to it on paper. It's not pretty read. And you know what? Like, I'm not even slighting her for it, but bro, not like, to be honest, like, okay, because even Fiona even had her opinion on it, like, which is fine, yeah. But even if you look at the average family, yeah, most people wouldn't want that for their son. They're gonna, do you know, a lot of cases they're gonna be like, son, are you sure? Like, do you know what I mean? Let alone
who's known to not be cool with her family. Your mother will say, hold on a second, son. You know what I mean? There's a big representation, especially women. They look for that. How are you like with your family? Are you, you know what I mean? Are you a family man? Or are you, because a lot of women that want a guy to be close to them, you know what I mean? So I don't know. You're right.
yeah, bro. But as I say, more power to her. I mean, to be honest, I mean, every time I see them criticize her, I mean, it seems like they can't wait to criticize her. And I don't like the way they do. I think they should more in his case anyway. And like someone said in the chat, like in terms of William, is he cheating? I don't know, but he's definitely staying on code. Retro filmmaker said that he's definitely staying on code. Do you know what I mean? So even if he's doing if he's doing whatever outside thing, they're not gonna care because the outside perception. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's ideal.
He definitely is playing the part, and so is Kate playing the part. And there's something I was going to bring up here, because again, as per the chat, Fiona put this: men like someone to tell them where they are going wrong and not sit there like a mute. Now, I'm going to say this: I will agree with a lot of it. It depends how let's be honest. What's the word? How the woman is and how aggressive she is with it. Because with all this patriarchy that we talk about in this world nowadays, and how patriarchy back in the day, women just shut up and all this kind of stuff. I don't know, but for me, that even my grandparents, because my granddad, again, patriarchy, head of the household, but that never for me, and particularly in black families, and I don't know whether that's the case, that never for me was the model which I saw even way back when. The woman was never silent like a mute. And this is the thing which I'm like, maybe we've got things confused. Now, again, we've gone to this whole nother wave right now when it comes to this whole third wave and probably fourth wave feminism, but I've never thought of a guy just wanting a mute as a partner. I'm cooperative doesn't mean mute. It doesn't mean that you can't say, look, babe, you're going wrong. It's how it's done. Like there's certain situations, particularly in the public, where if your woman's on code, she will know how to sort of signal to you that, yo, babe, you're acting up, or don't do this, or do you know what I mean? That's kind of how I want my woman to be, and how it's been. Is a case of, look, don't be a mute, but there's a situations where it calls for it. You just, I don't know, pull me a little bit, or just give me a signal, just so that I calm down or I cool. So I do get that, where it's like, from not a lot of guys want that. I don't think, where it's just sit there like a mute. Some guys, I'll be honest with you, they like that. They like that stress. They like that, that woman to tell them, shut up and all that kind of other stuff. But yeah, I think it's just that balance there. That's how I see it. What do you think?
No, I would agree. I don't really get them guys though. I don't really understand them at all. But yeah, no, I wouldn't want my woman to stand like a mute either, to be honest. I mean, obviously not just rattling off at the mouth all the time either, but enough. But I know some guys kind of want just a chick that just kind of stands there and just literally, I mean, even with that whole submission thing, right? Submission, even that word, I would even use that loosely, because some people actually take that as to a whole nother, like, yes sir, no sir. And it's not really that, really. You know what I mean? It's just the opposite of being combative, to be perfectly honest, because there's certain people that are just combative, and it should not be that in a relationship. So, like you said, it's
no, absolutely true. And Retro Filmmaker said the perfect phrase: "It's a team effort," and that's how I've always seen it, as a team. I mean, again, and I always compare the family structure as kind of a almost like a business, in which you may be the head of the household, head of the business, but if you're not listening to your team, then what's going to happen is that your household or your company is not going to be the best suited, because guess what? They're human beings too. They have their issues. when the best leaders know how to listen as opposed to just dictating things. And I think we get, particularly in this space, I see a situation where whenever I hear the word patriarchy and submission, I see it as a case of a dictatorship, where it's a case of the woman can't say anything in a relationship. Now, again, this is maybe just how I was raised in my culture. Other cultures help me if it's a little bit different. Even in patriarchy, I've not seen a situation where how it's being described as almost the man says everything and the woman can't say nothing. She's just living in fear, hiding in fear. Now there are relationships like that, but that is abuse back then and it is today.
Yeah, that is actually straight abuse. That's completely.
So that's never something which, oh yeah, that's standard. No, that's standard abuse. Again, there are people who push it and people who don't push it. So I don't know. When I hear that sort of patriarchy in this space, I'm like, I don't know. I see it as exactly a team effort. And yeah, Fiona, many children will say that the mum is the boss. Absolutely. That's from the child's side, but the mum would know it's the father who runs the household. That's how it works. Like in any business, my boss, I know unequivocally who my boss is, but my boss wants feedback. My boss wants to say, okay, not how things should go, but there's certain things which you need feedback for you to be able to, guess what, make the home or make the situation a lot better. Because at the end of the day, it's your family. You want it to thrive. You want it to survive like a company. So I always, a lot of these red pill spaces with the patriarchy, I think they take things in a way which I don't know. I don't know if that's, I think it's something else. I think it's completely abuse as opposed to being a leader, because a leader is something completely different.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Even in the space, and some people want certain traditional things. I think they are kind of being, like you described, kind of cavemanish. They kind of want the woman to literally not do anything. But I suppose that's somebody who's really better and blue pill. I suppose that's the other extreme as well. Because sometimes with those guys, they're so scared to say anything. As to not appear that way, as well as not to aggravate the woman, they go too far the other way. So, like you know, what I'm saying, it's, you know, when you get the team effort and when you get the compromise as well, because that's what I think a lot of people don't do. They don't compromise. Most people just want it one way or the other. I think that's where there's a bit of an issue as well. People want mostly their way. They want it, even if it's like 60-40, but it should be like 50-50. And then, yeah, so.
No, 100% agreed. And then bring it back to this situation here, where again, from the optics seem like it's 90-10 in Meghan's favor. And again, the 10 part is just Prince Harry throwing his family under the bus. And it's just a case where now, like you said, he's gone to a certain extreme where he's completely, I mean, think about it. He's left his family, his friends. He's been stripped of his military titles. He may be stripped of his actual royal titles. He's been left all that he's knew and ever did know, to go to a place where, in my mind, is probably the worst place to raise children, at least from the optics. I mean, there's certain places where, again, go to the US to escape is fine, but there's certain places I wouldn't want my children going there and being raised in that environment at all, with those really woke, celebrity, media obsessed. I'm going to say something else, but I know it will probably get stricken down. But I couldn't go foresee raising kids in that kind of environment. I couldn't see it. Now, again, they have their finances to be able to shelter their kids, but I don't think they will shelter the kids. I think it's a case where they're all talking up in the media, so I can guarantee the kids are going to be primed and ready once they're at speaking age to speak woke. That's probably the first word they're going to say. It's just, for me.
Well, yeah. He's also screwed himself as well a bit, because to me, I mean, one thing I will say is, in the very least, he seems to really like that. You know, he seems to love the woman. So, if they do break, or if even where she particularly leaves him, and now they've got children as well, he's not going to take it well, you know. And by that point, depending on what happens in terms of like the royals, his family name, and the situation that's currently happening now, if that happens in the future, I'm not really sure what he's going to be left with. And like you said, even if they leave the situation, she will leave with more than he will. And I'm not even just talking like, say, financially or anything materially, or even the children, just in terms of this is, you know, another thing to her life CV. She married a royal. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah.
No, it's again hypergamy at its finest, where again, it's almost like a CV building block. 'Cause, I mean, if reports are believed to be true, she may want to run for office at one point for the president of the United States. So all these pieces of the puzzle, which are just falling together, and again, take that with a pinch of salt. So, but all these things don't seem too far fetched based on all the pieces of the puzzles that have been putting together and everything that I've been hearing from her mouth, as well as reports as well. And it's just like Prince Harry he's just there for the ride. He looks like just there for the ride, and I hope he enjoys it while he can do. I hope it's worth it, because I mean, me personally, I can't compare my situation because I've never been born in privilege, so I don't know the difference. And I said this, there must be a difference between somebody who's born in a situation where they probably don't understand the value of what they have, as opposed to somebody who made themselves into that position, i.e. like a Jeff Bezos, a Bill Gates, athlete. I say athletes, that's probably a dumb decision to be made. Actually, no, on that point, let me switch, because athletes do this all the time, don't they? You know what I mean? Athletes, especially black ones, who seem to all for a woman. They seem to ruin their marriages. I don't know. I always thought there's a difference between someone who's made it and strived and really worked hard for it, that they wouldn't actually want to just give everything away just for the peace leave. But
this is what I said earlier, man. This is just what most guys are on. This is how most guys are built. They're not built for. But why do most guys get resources in the first place? For a woman. That's just the honest truth. So why do most guys in the gym? They're trying to get body. Like, if you knew you could be, like, if it was a thing where women weren't overweight dudes and that was confirmed, like, you knew, yo, if I get 200 pounds overweight, I'm gonna have the baddest chicks around. Like, if you knew for a fact that's how it worked, I promise you, gyms will be out of business. I promise you. Like, that is, you know, and guys really overstating. It annoys me because it's dishonest, and it's like they always act like, no, man, you know, we're in this because we're doing it for help. Look, I'm not saying that doesn't happen after a point, because I think there are definitely a lot of guys who, you know, they are just working out because they're just like, look, I, you know, want a certain type of physique, I want a certain lifestyle, Yeah, that's definitely true. But I think people overplay and act like it's way more people than it actually is. Like, at the end of the day, the majority of people are motivated by that. That's just how it is on both sides for both sexes. That's just how people are. So, like, that element has to always be acknowledged. There's a reason why in media with advertisement and stuff, they always play on this. Like, they know that that's a big motivator and a big driver of behavior. Like, I don't know if you guys know about like with gaming, for example. Like, it might be a weird example, but it's proof of what I'm trying to say. This new Resident Evil game that's come out, bro, there's some woman in it that's this tall, you know, thick looking kind of woman. You know, if you was to go by red pill rhetoric, she's a wall banger, she posts blah blah blah. But the amount of people who've gone and bought this game and are making memes out of it and proper up it just because of this one woman who's barely in the game, from what I've heard. Like, it sounds stupid, but yeah, but look, the point I'm making is, I'm sure, you know, the developers, Capcom, I'm sure they're sitting there looking at their money right now, like, shit, we need to do more of this. We need to do more of that. That's how simple it is.
I don't know how simple. Remember Tomb Raider? Because that goes to your example, Tomb Raider. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I played on PS1 where she had the square boobs or triangle boobs, you know, and
that's what it is. Like, guys will buy it only because she has big tits.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is that simple. Like, I used to always think it wasn't. Like, I remember when Transformers came out, Megan Fox was in it, and I was like, oh, is Starscream in here? Like, that's what I was thinking. The male guys were like, oh man, I want to see Megan Fox. I was like, hold up, you're really about to go pay for a cinema ticket, you know, to go look at Megan Fox? And it's like, even when I was younger, I just didn't get it. Like, I just didn't understand this logic. But I'm starting to realize now how beneficial it is. Even YouTube, just having a woman in a thumbnail, okay? Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, you put a clickbait, proper clickbait out. Like, some of these guys put things like, I don't know, like, in IG model, you know, gets destroyed, blah blah blah, and all this, and they put the IG model looking all a certain type of way or crying. Like, it's just, at the end of the day, there's a reason why a lot of this stuff that's built around women does very well, regardless of what sector it is, regardless of what lane it is. And it all comes back to what you were talking about, which is, regardless of whether a guy's built his wealth or just born into it or whatever, they want to use it. And the main way a lot of them want to use it is with women, either to spend it buying women, or it's pretty much just buying women all the time if you really think about it. But it's like they just want to try and buy affection, and they feel like, oh, the only way I can make this girl stay with me or like me is if I use my money and give her things. Like if I don't take her out for dinner enough times in a year or in a month or in a week, then she's not going to love me. So I have to keep doing that. And a lot of these guys, regardless of what their position is, that's just how they think. So, you know, but it's just how I don't think guys have ever been any different. I think there's a romanticism of the past, and I don't really know why, but I don't think guys have ever at any point not been like this. I think it was just a case of the system and the society made it where this wasn't such a detrimental behavior. Like a lot of the things we'd call simping, this wouldn't be simping a number of decades ago because the system wasn't going to punish you if you did it. Like, or you wouldn't get, you know, societally, like it's not a bad thing. It's not a negative. Like if you had a woman and you want to take her for dinner, you don't have to worry that she's about to take you out before you're going to be giving her a free meal and she's going to go with some next guy. You don't have to worry about things like that because there wasn't really this casual dating type of scene like that in the same way and things like that. So because of how it is today, where everyone's just doing whatever, I mean, it is what it is. And it's only guys really who are slow right now. Like they're just not, they need to hurry up and catch the fuck up because they're still thinking that it's 1920 or something. Like, oh, I want to take her out on a date and be romantic and whatever. I'm just going to be honest. Like most of these girls really don't care about that. No matter what they like it, but not to the extent that they will try and make it out, you know, and unfortunately that's just how it is, you know, and I think a lot of guys just can't accept that reality, no matter how much money they've got.
No, it's true. And I think because here's how I see things in terms of human behavior and the male and female dynamic is that I think we are born and sounds obvious, but born and made for each other. So we do things to attract each other, which is just natural. I think that's just a natural thing. So traditionally, I think this is where men haven't woken up yet, but traditionally, men gather resources and power and strength because that is what attracts women, because women are naturally attracted to power and strength. Now, women's game is usually youth and beauty. So that's why women, even today, they will do all these kind of things to keep their youth. They will, again, they go to get BBL surgery, nose jobs, makeup. Everything is there because guess what? We are made for each other. So men do the things that they do because they believe, rightly or wrongly, that's going to get the woman maybe of their dreams that they could never have had if they didn't get this massive kind of resources. Likewise, women will do whatever they can do to try and get that man who has that resources. You see what I mean? So I always think there's always...
See, that's the thing, because I slightly disagree on the women's side, because they see the thing is they won't do whatever it takes, and that's where the problem is. And
so you don't think with all the surgeries that women have been dying from, to thicker lips, get bigger ass, to
I mean, there's that, but okay, yeah, you're right in that sense. But when you're saying anything, that means they do literally whatever it takes, but they don't. They select certain things that they feel like they should do and ignore the other things that actually would be better. Like instead of going to get a surgery, just maybe, I don't know, change certain things about yourself and you may not have these issues that you're having. But they don't think like that. They think about superficial things, and it's not entirely their fault. The media and all this stuff, again, it's affecting both sides. It's making women feel like as if they've got to do these ridiculous things to get things. But I don't know, man. Like, I think a lot of women just have selective focus, because at the end of the day, if you really look at what's going on, you will see women who don't look like nothing with guys that have money. So if you're really just actually paying attention, you would easily see, oh, this woman here, she's not got a model body. She doesn't look like some type of exotic woman. She's just a regular, plain Jane. The guy she's with is multimillionaire. But maybe the difference between her and the woman who's looking at it is she's willing to, as you say, do certain things, or she's just built to be a better fit for that guy. Whereas the woman who's looking at it, she's thinking, I don't know. I don't actually know what they think when they see plain Janes, to be honest with you, because they don't seem to want to look at them. They seem to only want to look at the Kim Kardashian type of women and model what they're doing.
Because of the media.
I don't really...
You are right. There's a certain media that persists where it's the IG model type. Let's be honest, because of the Kim Kardashian effect. The IG model type, this is kind of where it is, where a lot of, I'm seeing a lot of women, even I suppose in this space where You see women on these shows, and they all look the same. They're all the women who, again, they get their lips done, their ass done, because they all want to look like that stereotypical IG model. And this is where a lot of the colorism parts comes into place, because again, black women will have tell you that, guess what? They're seeing black men with only certain types of women. Now, men will say, oh, we like whoever, we like dark skin, light skin, as long as you're bad, you're bad. But they're not seeing it that way. So they will do certain things, lighten their skin, again, try and get thicker, all these kind of things, because they want to appeal to what they perceive it is to be the standard of beauty that exists within whatever subculture that they belong to.
But but that's just because it's a selective focus thing. I've said to people before that a lot of women, what it is they see the world in it's like this. It's like they see the world in black and white, and only the people in color are the people they take notice of. And I've spoken with girls at length, like I've asked them certain questions, and you can see there's this obliviousness where they honestly don't understand like a male's perspective on things. For example, when I would say to them, do you know a lot of guys are anxious about talking to women like that they don't know, which a lot of them are, right? Now, to me, that seems like common knowledge. But a lot of girls will be like, oh, I don't think that. Most guys are really confident and have no problem talking to a random woman. I'm like, what? Like, are we living in two parallel universes, or like, how did you come to that conclusion? But what it is they only register the guys who do have the confidence. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's the same thing with the image thing. Like, they're looking at the image like, oh, what kind of guys do I like? Okay, I like these types of guys. What goals are they with? Oh, they're with these IG model types. They're not looking at the guy who's like a banker and he don't look like too much, and his wife is just some regular looking woman. They don't care about him. They care about who's the guy that's the athlete. What does he look like? What's he got? Okay, he's with this lighter skin chick, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, it is gonna play into what they think they have to do. Of course, if they're looking at that type of guy and thinking that's what he wants, they're gonna think I have to be like that. And I'm not sure, like, sometimes, man, I do get that, yeah, a lot of guys, particularly in the black community, yeah, once they get some status or whatever, sure. A lot of them do start dating out, sure. A lot of them do start going for lighter hues and things of that nature. And I don't know why guys act like that's not true. I'm not sure why they're being disingenuous about that shit, because it's so blatant. I don't know how it just reminds me of the women who've been disingenuous. It's just like how there's just too many people being dishonest and not genuine about what you can blatantly see in front of you. I don't know.
This is what I mean. And this is what I mean. I need a lot of these things, either social media is a microcosm, but what you can see playing in front of your eyes, I don't get why there's such pushback. Again, to your point about men who they either date out or they have certain type of, once they get a certain wealth, they seem to date such the same type of chicks. I think I looked at some people and I'm like, is that the same woman? But it's not. But they look all the same. So you're right. What conclusions do women draw from that? Like men, what conclusions do we draw that the guy who has maybe who's an athlete, maybe who's a rapper, maybe, you know what I mean? We don't want to really admit this, but we do the things that we think is going to be more beneficial for the other sex predominantly, whether it's getting money, getting in shape, whatever it is. Predominantly our focus, let's be honest, is to make ourselves as attractive as we can do for the opposite sex. So it's just like, it just amazes me how there's such a disconnect where, oh, I hate this guy say all the time, oh no, we want women who look like this, we don't want this, we don't want that. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. The next girl I saw you with, I mean, let's take the Derek Jackson incident for starters. You guys all know about the Derek Jackson situation, right? In which
Well, I've heard about it a little bit. Yeah.
I heard about it. Okay, so Derek Jackson's wife could be compared to Kate Middleton. She's quite plain. Now she wasn't really, she didn't really glam up when I saw her, but she looks quite plain. I think she's a church girl. She's very nice. So she ticks all the boxes in terms of the perfect wife. But Derek Jackson has been cheating on her with all women who look like what? The IG model S type. So here's a situation where now what can I say to women when women say to me, well, hold on a second, that's the woman that you really wanted, because that's who you've been cheating on me with. It's not like you cheated on me with
well, this is yeah. Sorry, go on.
Possibly a little bit. I know. Oh, go on.
I'm done. You go with it. Go ahead. Whoever.
Because you know what? Even with the cheating thing, yeah. No, look, I'm not condoning it, but I suppose this is where it's sort of like case by case, because sometimes the cheating isn't. Bear in mind, a lot of the time these guys don't leave these plain wives for these IG models, though.
But we know why. Exactly. We know why, because at the end of the day, just two things. So number one is probably just want to get a nut out. Fine. But number two is because there's so much for us to lose by doing that. We're logical at the end of the day. So we know, and he knows, he has a lot to lose by divorcing the wife. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if he has a prenup, he has a brand, an image to protect, he has his finances to protect. There's more to lose from a guy divorcing at the end of the day. Say what you want to say about, oh, he can get money back anyway. I'm sorry. For me, if you're a guy, you don't want to be losing all your wealth. You want to be trying to have your cake and eat it as well. Have the nice image as you got this nice, lovely wife, and then on the side, you do whatever needs to happen.
But this is what I'm saying about this is what, because look, historically, this is nothing new. These guys will often run around talking about high value. Well, high value guys, you know, if that's what you want to call them, obviously, I don't really like that phrase. But at the end of the day, guys who have resources have always been able to have a wife, and then if they want to have other women, just keep that shit down. Like, you don't need to be out there, right? Like, there was a reason why they've had things like whorehouses for as long, however long now, in all these different cultures around the world. It's a known fact that just guys, and who's going there? What, the guy who's the beggar on the street who ain't got 2 coins to rub together? No, it's guys who've got money to afford to go in there. So at the end of the day, a lot of guys, what it is that's a problem in modern society is we're too politically correct and too dishonest about human nature. The fact of the matter is, it's the same way like how women, they might have certain things going through their head, but they feel like they can't say it because they're going to get shamed. That's what the patriarchy was like. It's like, we have to shame these women because cool. It kept order, okay. But now we're in a situation where you're telling women they can do what they want. Then you got, at the same time, you're telling them that, you know, they're this, they're that. Then you're telling guys that they should, you know, lead and be they should be providers and protectors. But you're also saying the patriarchy is bad and male toxicity. It doesn't make, like, there's too much contradictions. So what happens now is, when you've got situations like what we're talking about, where you're saying like a guy like Derek Jackson, he will have a regular woman and then he'll also have the side chicks. Look, that's nothing new. But the problem is that in society now, like, because my thing is, why even lie about it? Like, if I was Derek Jackson, it's like, if that's what you want to do, I don't know why you got to try hide or act like as if, you know, or, you know, but it's because you wanted to go down that PC route of looking like you're this perfect guy who doesn't do anything wrong. And that's the problem. Like, why can't you just be real and say, listen, this is what my setup is, and that's what it is. Reason why is probably because that ain't going to maybe sell as well. It's that simple. Maybe that just ain't going to sell as well.
It's bad for business for him, bro.
Yeah, but that's his own fault. Why did you put yourself in that market? And if you're going to be married to a woman and you, like, because I don't know enough about it, but I'm going to assume, considering that, as far as I'm aware, he ain't getting divorced, as far as I know. I'm going to assume his wife knew what was going on. But the problem is that it got out. So I think she probably didn't have an issue with it. But once it got out, it's like, okay, well, now people know about it. But because my thing is that, like, I don't know, man, like, some women, they don't really care. If they've got their resources and they're on point, they're not really bothered about what the guy's doing, so long as it don't get out there.
I want to do a whole video on this, because there is more women than you think that actually know. But as long as everything is on point at home, they don't give a damn.
Oh yeah. I 100% agree, because again,
we're gonna do a stream on this one. Trust me.
It's just a cushy lifestyle. So I 100% agree with it. But here's the thing: this transcends beyond value. So a lot of times, while we do say, "Oh, it's the guys who have a lot of money," let's be honest. It's not like cheating is a thing that's exclusive to people who have a lot of money. That's been going on since the dawn of time, for whatever social class, economic class you want to have it on. So I'm just like, when people say, "Oh, only
that's
has their options," no. Any person has the ability and capability to cheat, regardless of where their standing is in life.
But that's the thing, though. Like, and to what Vincent said in the chat about she didn't leave because of the money. Well, that's the thing. That doesn't even make sense, because her leaving would give her more money and she'd be able to have certain things. She probably just, I don't know, because I don't know enough about what they've got. But it just, if she ain't ducking out, then she obviously values whatever they've got enough to pick it over that. Now, that may change. That's the problem with this system of marriage and all this. That could just change. You could just turn out that it's like, well, 2, 3, 4 years later, actually, I don't like it. Or actually, you did do me wrong. And and now he's got more money, more shit to lose. And it's a wrap. Like, but.
And you know what? It may be one of them ones where, just like you're saying, but it may be the case of at home, you know, apart from this situation, which I'm not saying it's not big, it's like huge, but at home, if he's taking care of home, again, aside from that, it's one of them where some people don't even want to rock the boat, bro. I'm not saying it's right or correct, it's right or wrong, but it's true. Some people.
What you mean, like people outside of it?
Yeah, like in his case, let's say, you know, apart from the cheating aspect, everything else in terms of at home is on point. then it's one of them where it's like, yeah, she probably did know, bruv. She probably did know. I don't think she's staying because of money either, bruv. Because like you're saying, she would get much more out of it. The divorce, the sort of media attention, the people that want to interview her, she'd make a killing if they got divorced.
All depends. I think with this one, I know what you're saying, because you're right. Women don't marry for money; they divorce for it. Let's be honest. But it could be timing, because again, like you were saying, women are smart. They play the game. If you're with a certain person for a certain amount of time, you get more part of the pie. You just have to wait it out. I don't know if that's the case. You're right. A lot of women, for whatever it is, self-esteem, or they don't want to rock the boat. They have a family, and let's be honest, they don't want to see it break apart. Potentially, as long as they're good with it, and you try and make sure you don't embarrass me in public, which is the main thing, then a lot of women are like, cool, have you or whatever it is, and then at least you come home to me. So it's
well, to be honest, yeah, like I've got to be honest, and I've said this to people before, and they think it's a bit controversial, but to me, yeah, because not enough people marry, and let's be honest, marriage is a business as well, and a lot of people go under it, either under the illusion or actually the feeling of going into it for love, which is a good and probably the best reason for it. But a lot of people discount the business part of a marriage, or the concept of marriage. If a woman is into a marriage, for actually the man and woman, and they know there's a marriage, they're a union, their business, their names, their families, whatever, yeah, they probably do love each other, but there's more business involvement to the point of the marriage. If then he's stepping out, she knows about it, and just like you said, as long as you don't bring it home, so you know, not bringing it home is don't have any babies on me, don't bring me any diseases, don't sleep with anybody in my house, don't do it, don't take her somewhere where you literally could get caught. That's basically all those things. If she's in that marriage for a business, then to be perfectly honest with you, then I don't think anyone can really say anything, because it's kind of one of them where they've kind of worked this out already. I think what the problem lies is where people are in a relationship for, I don't want to say genuine reasons, but more emotional reasons, i.e. love, and then this occurs. I think that's where the paths get crossed. So, you know, I think if people, I don't know how the reactions are going to be, but there definitely needs to be more communication in terms of, okay, what type of relationship are we entering and why are we entering it? Because, and you know what, black people, I think a lot of our problem is not enough of us do get together for the sake of business and certain family unions and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I think we need more of that. I think we need more of that.
People need to get their money up first, because there ain't not enough business going on in the first place.
Oh God, well, you ain't lying. You ain't lying.
I'm being hard.
No. I agree. But no. You're right though, bro. Overall, you are right. But bro, even little things like because not just in terms of business and money, but it's even things like connections. For example, with black people, I think there need to be more, for example, Afro-Carib, because there is a lot more of that, yeah. But I think if we did that en masse, like Caribbeans and Africans, well, be it whether they're British or whether they meet wherever, more of that union as well will benefit. I know I'm going a bit wayward as well, but again, in terms of the unions, the marriages, the families, the strongholds, because yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, man.
I mean,
anyway, yeah.
I have a question for you two, though, right? So, I mean, okay, so a lot of these things that we're talking about, the significance of them is rooted in history, right? It's rooted in like marriage, the two-family household, even like a lot of these things, they're rooted in the way society is kind of designed and how it's been set up for a long time. But there's a reason why we're running into these issues right now, which is because the world is kind of shifting and it's going in a direction that we haven't really seen before, like how it is now. So a lot of these kind of structures and these traditions, they're not meshing well with whatever we're going into. And because we don't know what we're going into, it's just natural to cling to what you know when facing the unknown. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, is it really that these things like have to be maintained, or do you think that some of these things need to evolve? Because maybe the issue is just that these things are plain and simple aren't compatible with the modern environment.
Well, is it okay? Is it the case of then we should be entering these relationships more in a business sense as well? Because it's almost like you said, in terms of modern times, the cat's out the bag. Everybody knows what it is, innit? So should it be the case of we're entering, okay, the woman, you provide for me, I want money, okay, cool, I'll make sure I got that, make sure my peace leaves on on tap. Like, should it be really that simple and transactional? Is that, do you guys reckon that's like akin to modern nature at the moment? Because it seems to be. Would that be easier? Because this love traditional, old school, new school, like it's not working, bro. Maybe everything should just be a bit more traditional. Look, this is what I need out of it. This is what I need out of it. Look, we're gonna tie them up. We're gonna put our names together. Boom, 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 and then away we go. You do what you're doing. I'll do what I'm doing.
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
still do that to this day. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Marriage for love is always been a poor person's situation.
Yep.
So even way back when it comes to, like, in this country, the royals family, after like a war broke out, they would get married to unify the kingdoms, whether it be Britain fighting with France or Spain. You see, like Henry VIII, the marriage was purely a business aspect to keep either families together who has finances, or whether it's to keep kingdoms from starting out from peace, to stop war from breaking out. Whereas this love thing, this I think is a modern concept, because let's be honest, all of us now are kind of we've come from that whole era of, you know, peasants and aristocrats, and it's a lot more modernized. But love is a poor person's concept. Whereas if you go to places like India, where they still have the system, the caste system, where they high cat, like Priti Patel and Rishi Sunak, they like billionaire families. They only marry certain other families, and guess what they are? They are billionaires, because guess what? They understand the importance of marriage and how, let's be honest, you can fuck up a family's fortune and everything by marrying the wrong person. So yeah, I do.
And you know, them people, they sleep out a lot.
Well, yeah, I assume, because at the end of the day, they're not married. They're not married for love. A lot of times, they're married because, again,
I've heard that
they
have a lot of external relationships. So
yeah,
you know,
the pressures.
Yeah, sorry, go on, bro.
Would that work then, do you think? So would it work then in the case of, we get rid of this marriage for love thing, we get marriage for business? Because I think this will hurt a lot of guys who claim marriage should be like this. Because in this environment, even though people say it's completely fucked up, the dating environment, there's a lot of capability if you know what you're doing out there to get women who you probably could have never got in a past lifetime. So I'm always hear this thing. Many men complain about the dating life's being fucked up. I'm like, hold on a second. How can you not really enjoy this life, this coach that we're in right now? Because what is the alternative?
This is what I keep wondering. How are you not getting women? I do not understand, bro. Like, how are you?
I mean, I can understand why they're not. I do get it. The marketplace in the West is fucked. Even if you are able to get, if you're not out there actively dated, like, no, it is not. Like, even if you're on point, at the end of the day, it's not just a cakewalk in that type of sense. However, to what you said, White, which is true, it's still easier than it's ever been. It's just, I think sometimes people want everything to be perfect. And again, there's too much romanticization about things that never really happened in the way people think they happened. Like, I don't know why guys think back in the day, every man had 2 wives, every man was just some patriarch that was doing what he wanted. I've said this before. Most guys were getting told what to do by the patriarchy, and you didn't, you had to conform. Not even that long ago, it was like whatever your father's job was, you knew you was probably doing the same job. It wasn't well, I'm gonna go do my own thing. No, bro, you're gonna do what I'm doing. I'm in this mill, you're doing that next.
100% true. If your father was a farmer, or father was a miner, you likely would have got a job with your farmer. Your whole status was predetermined before you were even born. Right. So you were born into a family which you couldn't control, and that's all you knew. That's all you lived in. Now, here's the thing: you could have been paired up with some, let's be honest, £250 land whale, and you couldn't do anything about that shit for the most part. Whereas now, at least you have more of a choice. You can at least try and maneuver in the world. Again, like you said, it ain't perfect, but it's a damn sight better than how I see it, how things were back then. Because
I mean, it depends on what you want. But this is the thing, like, it depends on what people want. But even down to when people say, well, I want tradition and I can't get that here. Cool. I hear what you're saying. All right. I mean, right now we got COVID, UK weather and headlines. But, in a general basis, it's like, cool. If you feel like you need to go do, you need to meet some next woman somewhere, whatever the heck it is, but at least you have the option. Because I'm telling you, firstly, airplanes didn't exist, a certain amount of time ago, so that wasn't an option, period. And at the end of the day, like the fact that you can move around, even it don't even need to be nothing like that. Even just the fact you can go to other places in the city or the town you're in, or just go to places and meet people. I know, again, with how they've been locking things down, whatever, and all this nonsense, but in general senses, just over the course of most of the 21st century, or pretty much all of it, that's how it's been. It's not being this thing of, oh, I have to be locked into this. Now, again, there's certain cultures like that, but then even when you meet people from those cultures, they still, when they get into certain environments, like if they come here or America or whatever, they will take advantage of these Western privileges and they will just do whatever they're doing and just keep it under wraps. Like, that's just what will happen. So it's like everyone kind of gets to utilize the benefits of being born in this era. Again, you have the internet and all these other things, but it's not perfect, but I don't know what people expect. Like, because, like what you said, if we had it where it was all marriage for business, I'm telling you, most of these dudes out here are going to cry because they're going to realize they can't get anything because all the women are just going to, you see, this is what's funny. This is one thing I've never understood. Like, guys would be like, oh, women are gold diggers, right? But then they get mad about Pookie and Ray Ray. Now, my thing is hold up. Isn't that an example of guys who aren't getting picked for gold digging purposes? Like, do you know what I mean? But then I guess they're looking at it like, well, why, if they can't go for a rich dude, they'll go for a guy who's just a straight up, thug or whatever, like, They don't go for like the broke nerd. And I'm like, that's because the broke nerd is, that is like the epitome of pathetic. If you're, that's just the honest truth. That's why,
isn't it? They're not looking at themselves, because them sort of guys you have to ask, would you date yourself? Like, what about you is gonna make, okay, fine, okay, they're not dating you. Okay, give me 3 things that should make her date you. They can't say it. Yeah,
and I'll be real, because
what they do is say that what they'll say is they won't say the positive things. They'll say they're not Pookie Ray Ray. They don't have a criminal record. They don't. You see what they do? They don't. They'll try and phrase it as way they aren't like this, therefore I'm the better option. Even though
they're looking at other people saying what they aren't of them, rather than bigging themselves up and being like, no, I am ABC.
And here's the thing: long term, they probably logically are the better option, right? But the problem is that there's no guarantees, and there's a lot of guys out there who go to school and whatever, and they ain't really doing a whole lot. Now, that doesn't mean women shouldn't be with them, but I think a lot of these guys just sell themselves short. And they don't assert themselves enough. And that's why they're not getting what they want. It's just because they're not putting themselves in a certain position. Now, that doesn't mean that a lot of girls aren't also being picky or they ain't over in, can't remember how to say that word now, but, they've got too many options. Yes, that's all true, like, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, again, what's the alternative is what, just lockdown and every man's got one chicken. It's like, so that means every single type of woman who's out here is going to have to get put with someone. So we're talking the land world chicks. We're talking the girls that are just clapped, like everyone's going to have to get put with someone. Like, but I don't know, man. It's just it is a mess. But it's like I don't really see any clear solutions, which is why I was asking, like, is it just that these systems we have just need to evolve? Because to do with the marriage for business thing, yeah, like you said, White Man, that is how it's been for a minute. Like, it's this romantic thing, that isn't really, that's what's newer. The idea of, oh, we love each other and that's all that matters, and it's like,
if you've ever read Romeo and Juliet,
I was just going to say, yeah.
One of the reasons why it was so profound at that time is because they were people who shouldn't have been married together because of their, I think, was it Romeo was poor and Juliet was, you know what I mean? The whole idea of marriage at that time was not how it is now. These people, and like West Side Story, these people couldn't in any lifetime have got together until in a story like Romeo and Juliet, like the West Side, you know what I mean? That's the whole point of nowadays and how Romeo and Juliet was so profound, and how I'm like, you're romanticizing about a history that really never, it wasn't like that. And I think you romanticize about things which, if you were back in those days, I still feel sorry for those guys because you still ain't going to get what you think you're going to get. So again,
and here's the thing: even if you do that type of society back then, you as a commoner, you don't have any power. So even if you do have a woman you like, You know, a duke comes around, the little local lord, and he sees something, bro. Even a lord's son, a little lordling who ain't, he's just some boy. Even he can badge you up and be like, I'm taking your woman. You'll be like, bro, my wife's like 20 years your senior. Well, sorry, but I'm taking that now, and there's nothing you can do. That's like, and I'm not even making that shit. I'm not even
You're
making
lying.
that shit.
You ain't lying. I've seen, yeah, I remember reading things like that where at the end of the day, they'll line up the most beautiful girls in the town or that village and they'll be swooped up. So you think about all the bad chicks in every your city, your town, your ends, wherever it is, they'll be swooped out of there by all these barons, lords, and you'll be left with the rest. So
Right,
it's just
and in modern day terms, this is what they complain about when they say, "Oh, you know, women only want to go for the top percent of men," and blah blah blah. And I get where they're coming from, but you see, this is again like where I feel like people are being like they have selective focus, and this is where a lot of women get the impression that guys only want IG models. Because, in my personal opinion, like the average woman, like if you walked out your door right now and you just saw a woman on the street, she's probably not thinking about Dan Bilzerian or, you know, like trying to get with some super rich, like that's not probably, she might be, but I don't think it's realistically what goes through her head. A lot of girls, I think, just want a dude who's just decent and on point. But this is where a lot of guys are getting it fucked up. They want the guy to also have some assertiveness about him. And I think a lot of guys just lack that. And they mistake that for thinking, oh, they only want guys who have this, that, and the third. When really what the truth is that the guys who have this, that, and the third tend to also have the assertiveness. And that's the part that's missing. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there's women who are going to get with guys who are just straight up weak and whatever, just because they've got money. Of course, gold diggers, whatever you want to call them. But to me, I don't think of women who want resources as gold diggers in the way other guys do. Because to me, all women want resources. Some are just more aggressive about it than others. But at the end of the day, like, I think a lot of guys just can't accept how women are, and it doesn't help that a lot of women are disingenuous and lie as well. But I don't know, man. Like, again, all this stuff out here that exposes and shows what goes on, and you have goals on shows outright saying like, if you're broke, then I ain't dealing with you, or if you got this, or if you ain't got that. Like, they don't give a fuck. They just say it how it is. And even with all that, guys are still gonna sit there and be like, oh man, you know, I just want love and
Bro, you see,
and I
even
don't
you
know what
saying
to
that
say.
assertiveness, yeah. You see,
Yeah.
even that assertiveness, sometimes, and bro, you're right. Sometimes it's not even has to be a straight hood thug dude all the time. Sometimes it's just a bit of assertiveness, and sometimes it's like, you know, but like I say this to guys all the time, even you saying that, yeah. Like anytime when, like, for example, when I've been single, if I see a chick that's got kind of like a resting bitch face, I want to approach her more, because I find a lot of the time those chicks, yeah, that either come across rude or even start sort of being mouthy, once you've got past that, because it's a wall, it's mainly a defense mechanism, and most guys, like, they see that and run, innit? And they're just like, oh, okay. A lot of the time, once you get past the first hurdle, they crumble like a ton of bricks, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? So even with that assertiveness, sometimes it's just having a little bit, and then sometimes it's just a woman shit testing you. Do you know what I mean? And then beyond that point, she's just calm, like, because like you showed her from start, like, okay, like you're not gonna violate. Like, do you know what I mean? I like you, but you're not gonna violate. Usually that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of women who just have no respect, especially today, and so I do think that is a genuine issue, because it sometimes it don't matter. Like, you know, you can, like, I know people where they've got every box like pretty much checked, and they still just get disrespect. Now, to me, I think that's nuts. Like, I'm thinking, you're like, this woman has got nothing going on for herself. You have there's no reason. I'm not saying you can't have respect just for yourself, just as a person, but you're disrespectful for, like, needlessly. This person hasn't done you wrong. They ain't being horrible. They ain't beating you. They ain't cussing you out. They ain't done nothing to you. You're just disrespectful because that's all you know. You just know how to be disrespectful. And so there's some people like that, but if the guy's sitting there paying for that and encouraging it, why is she going to change? So I don't even get mad at the gold anymore, because I'm just like, well, you guys keep funding it, so what can I really say? Like, me personally, I'm one of those people where I'm very much a believer in, like, the whole vote with your feet or with your wallet type of thing. Like, just, if you don't agree with something, don't fund it. But people have this lack of discipline and control, especially guys. That's why I keep saying I don't really feel bad for a lot of guys anymore, because a lot of the issues I'm seeing, guys keep chasing after and funding it. And again, this is why the
Just
women
put a
who
pretty
do
chick in
act,
front of them, they forget everything they've just said. Yeah, no, it's true.
Do you know what?
yeah, and
I so agree with you here because I was kind of like a bit more on Guy's side, but you know, I'm just seeing certain things. I'm just come to this realization that, do you know what? And this is the difference between the sex, that no matter how much feminism has, infected the minds of women and how they think they go getters, I'm sorry, if men were to either vote with their wallet or their feet and stop half of the things that they do right now when it comes to funding for these IG models, these finesse chicks, whether they stop simping, supporting for it. Do you know how many women right now will be out of business? And that thing would never go on again. Because let's be honest, and I'm just going to keep it real. When everyone has choices, when the sexes have their own choice, men will build, women will go to the guys who build. At the end of the day, the only reason why women can do what they do is because a man built Instagram, and therefore women have chosen to take off their clothes on Instagram.
Right,
the only reason why the women do these things is because guys have allowed them to, because they have built platforms or allow them to do these things. I'm like, why don't you guys just vote with your feet, don't subscribe to them, don't do this kind of stuff, and therefore you see the change in tide? Because I see it all the time. I'm like, I can't co-sign a lot of these men. I can't, but
it's to do with the scarcity thing, and the issue is that the issue though is that in this day and age, as opposed to the past, one thing that was a bit more, like a little bit more solidified was your life was a bit more laid out for you, and you had more guarantees, and a woman was a bit more of a guarantee, like as part of a package than it is now. So, for example, if you go to school and you was one of the people who got an education and these types of things, for starters, you knew almost certainly you're getting a job. Like, not like now where you would get a degree and you don't know what's going on in, you know what I mean, and whatever else. And that's even with good degrees, even people I know who've got degrees in things like maths and stuff, even in that situation, sometimes it's difficult. It's not just out the gate, and part of the reason is because so many more people obviously are getting these degrees. But the point is that that was more like of a guarantee. You knew if you was a guy, okay, I've got a job and, I'm just a blue collar worker. You're not no one special, but you've got your little wife and your little home, and owning a home wasn't so difficult, wasn't so expensive. Like, everything was just more convenient. And again, it's to do with population and a whole bunch of innovations, which is why I'm saying with the modern society we have now, it doesn't mesh so well. A lot of these concepts worked better in smaller or tighter-knit communities because it's easier to keep a handle on these things. Also, they were more homogeneous and especially culturally, like, it's like, well, it's more the same ideals and ideas. Once you've got it where everyone's got different ideas of what they want to do, it's harder to, how are you going to tell people what they can and can't do? Like, it's the same way how, a Muslim people can't come here to the UK and be like, right, this English woman, she's going in a hijab, like, because it doesn't work like that. You can do that in your country, but you can't do that over here. But at the same time, we can't tell them what they should be doing. And it's just like, because of this mixing of everything going on, which we believe it's good, but truth be told, all the civilizations and societies that we keep basing everything on didn't really do too much of this. Like, and that's why I just find mad. It's like, it's hard to say, because I don't think these things are inherently evil. I just think society's stuck in this place where it's trying to be like the old times, but it's also trying to do this new thing, and it doesn't know what it wants to be yet. And I think a lot of the issues we're seeing are kind of growing pains, and I'm not sure how long it'll take, but I imagine at some point there will be a system to it. Like, even with social media is still quite new. So you get these studies that start coming out about how it's linked to depression and blah, blah, blah. This shit didn't exist, a decade ago because it wasn't as prevalent. But once it is prevalent, there's research behind it, there's data, and there's things you can base things on. That's when new systems are going to come in, like, and there's going to be new ideas and new ways of dealing with things. And I think that that's what really has to happen now on every level in society. It's the only way. Otherwise, it's collapsing. Like, that's it. That's the only two ways this goes. Either there has to be some reform, or it's just done out. So that's really all there is. And I feel as though, like, a lot of the things, like I said, it's just how guys are built. Most of them, they want to have romance, and I feel bad because I'll call guys like this simps and whatever, but like, I feel bad because I don't see why I should have to, because what they want is not bad. Like, they're not. It's like, it's in a lot of ways it's coming from a good place, but that's kind of what that's what the problem is that unfortunately it's not really good.
Don't laugh, bro. Don't laugh. Oh my.
But the thing is that it's like it's not bad. Like it's just that it's just like I don't know. You know, like when guys would say, "Oh, I'm like a good man," and I just kind of think like, no, you're not. But it's like you're not bad. It's just you're not like to me, you're not a good man because you're not assertive. And I think your idea of what being a man is what the issue is. You know, but the problem is, how can I blame him? Who's teaching us these things like that? I'm just fortunate I grew up in the internet generation. I mean, but who's really? Most people aren't being taught these types of things. Like we're being taught the opposite. You know, it's just a mess, man. It's just I don't know.
Well, I suppose, and just play devil's advocate here, is that maybe what we learned or what we thought being a man was that the right thing to do. Again, like you said, we sort of nostalgia. Always see the history is nostalgic. We always the past. Oh, it was so wonderful. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's take this element. For Black people, was it so wonderful back in those days? Depending where you are, nope. Was it so good for women back in those days having no rights? Nope. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'm thinking to myself, are we saying in order for us to be a man, we have to strip away everyone's rights to make us feel like a man? Because that's kind of, if you look at the things, the really dynamic of things and how people wanted to get back to is that we almost are saying, because depending on who you listen to in this space, some people would believe that in order for them to be a man, they have to strip women from voting. Women can't goddamn look at another guy. Women can only just say, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir. So it almost seems to be the case that a lot of situations, and again, maybe what we thought was the case is completely wrong anyway, where I see situations where I'm like, well, hold on a second. Is that the kind of society that we want to go back to? Because at the end of the day, that's going to affect maybe if you have children, your daughters, your mother, your sister, aunts, all these pieces, which is 50% of the world, or I say it's a bit less than a bit more than that, because I think women outnumber men. But are we to say right now that that kind of model is the model that we want to go back to? Because that's what
I definitely ain't saying that. But I think that, but the thing is I think that you have to look at that old model and see why it worked, because we keep ignoring that or picking and choosing on which days we want to accept parts of it, and it's just stupid. Like women will accept the provider protector part, but then they don't like the patriarchy. Providing and protecting is a patriarchal fucking concept. Doesn't make any sense to say you want a provider and a protector, but you hate the patriarchy. It doesn't work. That's why guys are confused, because they're thinking, well, okay, I'll do that. You provide, protect, and the girl's still sitting there like, well, this ain't good enough. I'm divorcing you. Goes gets with a guy who's broke, you know, but he's a certain type of way. Like, it's just a mess. The problem is that there's not any like true guideline for people. And I've said to people before, a big issue as well is that guys right now are getting told what they can't and can do. Women don't really have a guideline. Like, if I'm a woman growing up right now, what am I looking at? What if I'm just a girl right now and I'm thinking, who should I look up to as a woman? Who am I really seeing up there? I'm seeing the Kardashians. I'm seeing Cardi B. And this isn't just for Black girls. This is just for women in general now. Because even if you're looking at a lot of the white women who've been celebrated, it's still a lot of the same rhetoric. It may not be that they're all strippers or ex-strippers or whatever, but it's still coming with the same kind of stuff. So you still got a lot of women who generally are sitting there saying men are trash, or, you know, they ain't shit, or, you know, don't do this, don't submit to your husband, blah, blah, blah. There's all that rhetoric. So if I'm an average girl growing up, I'm not going to think I should do those things. So again, I can't blame them entirely, because they're growing up and that's what they're seeing. Then a lot of guys go with it and agree. So they're thinking, well, the men seem to be cool with it as well. A lot of guys are complying with it. A lot of girls claim that that's making them happy. So it's like, what am I really supposed to say other than the fact that I know it's creating a lot of instability, but I don't know, like, you know, this is just how it is with people, man. They don't recognize how bad things are until it's too late. Like, you know, it is, I don't know, man. It's so hard to say, because when you're saying about taking rights away and these types of things, but this is the thing as well, even with that, it's like, really and truly, even that concept of human rights is really just at the convenience of whoever's got the power. At the end of the day, if people want to kick in your door and take what you've got, unless you've got the force to stop them, there ain't much you can do about it. No matter what piece of paper exists, if the government decided, you know what, you know, this is what it is now, you either resist or you comply. That's it. That's all you've got. You don't get to take them to court if it doesn't work. We can only do that because the law and everyone, all the powers are complying with it. But if they decided not to, then there ain't much you can do. And the thing is that I mean, there is stuff you can do. What I'm saying is you would be forced to have to do something or to just, leave it, whatever. But in terms of like to do what you're saying, I don't think we can go back. And this is what I keep trying to say. I feel like it has to either evolve or just collapse. There is no going back. I don't think that's an option. And I think guys who think it is an option, again, they're romanticizing the past, and also they're just misinformed. Because what a lot of them don't understand is in their current station of life right now, if we was to just do a time walk right now, this very second, go straight back to like 1920 or something, right, or 1910. Well, first of all, in a few years you're gonna have the First World War, so you're going into that. I'm not
exactly.
I'm not trying to go to the First World War.
If you were 16 years old, man, you had no choice. No choice. You were just drafted up as like this. Boom. If you're of an age, especially if you could probably hold a gun, that's it. You're gone. And then after that, you got the World War II. But I suppose, sorry to cut your myth twist, but you raise a good point about how there's no going back. And not only just that in regards to the war, but I'm going to say this. Look at how society has evolved from a standard of living and quality of life. We're complaining a lot about the world that we're living in nowadays, but let's be honest. Probably the brokest person in the West has access to like a smartphone, the internet. There's certain luxuries in life which we flipping take for granted. The idea of being able to go to the tap and just switching it on and water coming out. The idea of electricity being pretty much 24/7. The fact that we don't rely on the sun being up or down, which dictates how much we work. There's so many things which modern society has, let's be honest, has completely allowed us to do, which under the patriarchy, again, it could be just a time zone. So we would never know if patriarchy in this modern world will be able to exist in its framework because we're not in that situation.
But that's the thing. Patriarchy is in existence right now. It's just not the way people think it's supposed to be. But it isn't. Yeah, because it is, because all patriarchy means is that men are still leading things. I mean, if you ask any feminist, they're going to tell you we're still in a patriarchy, which technically we are, which is the only reason things hasn't fucking completely collapsed right now. Because I don't know what the heck the alternative is. If you want a matriarchy, sure, I'll make a matriarchy then. I'll just leave the country and watch from afar and see what the fuck happens, because I don't trust that. But I don't really understand how else this really goes. Like the fact of the matter is even all the things you just stated, internet, these things don't, like electricity, there's power grids. These things don't just operate just off of magic. Let's just be real. Like the majority of the time is men who are keeping these things up and running constantly. Like, I remember I used to live near the tube, like where you could see the train tracks, right? And every day, like around 2-3 in the morning or something like that, you'd see these guys out there in the high vis vest working on those tracks, making sure they work. Before, I didn't know that.
My uncle used to do that. My uncle used to do that. He used to be a tracking engineer for real. Yeah, every night. Yeah. Every
early morning without fail, you hit the dang, 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 banging shit.
Yeah, they was replacing the tracks and testing the tracks overnight.
Yeah, exactly. So why? So that when people like us get up in the morning, you got people do their 9 to 5. We don't give a fuck and don't think about those guys out there doing that. All the supposedly independent, powerful women who need to use the fucking tube to get to their job that makes them so powerful and independent. Well, how convenient and nice, because if those guys weren't out there doing that, because I ain't seen no women out there. Let me just be clear about that. I ain't seen no women on those tracks. So if those guys weren't out there, you ain't going on no tube. So even these modern conveniences, it's still again that patriarchal, because if men didn't buy into the patriarchal concept of, those guys out there doing that, yeah, they're doing it because they want a job. But let's be real, a lot of them, they probably feel like, oh, I got to go put food on the table. They probably feel like they need to do something, like they got some kind of duty. And that's why I'm not trying to make it completely noble. I'm not saying they're doing it for money, but again, the money, it serves a purpose and end. And most guys, like if I'm going to be real with you, most guys that I speak to want traditional family and whatever. It's just their idea of it is a bit confused and warped because of how modern society is set up. So they don't know how the dynamic should be, but they know that they want that. They know they want the kids. They know they want the home. They know they want those things. They just don't know exactly. And women, I think, want the same thing, a lot of them, but they don't know how they want it. So they just cling to what celebrities say. Celebrities say, well, you need a guy who's making 6 figures, or you need to get this, or you need to do that, or if the guy doesn't have this height, then he needs to go, and blah blah blah. So they're trying to chase those things. Doesn't work out for them. Now they're upset. So I think a lot of people want something very simple, but they're letting the internet and all these social media and stuff kind of lead them astray and think it has to be way more complicated than superficial than is necessary. Because a lot of those people, if they were just with someone who was, who was decent and treated them decently, a lot of them would be fine. But they feel as though they've got to do this crazy madness and get with these specific types. Because again, like, we're just in this hyper individualistic, superficial climate where everyone just only gives a fuck about themselves, and that's all they want until they, as guys will say, when women get past the wall, blah blah blah. But the thing is, it happens with guys too. A lot of these guys, once they get past 30, they want a family as well. so they start feeling like, oh, I need to get a woman now. And I'm going to be honest, like, a lot of these guys aren't going for what I would think of as their best options, as we're saying to do with Prince Harry and all this. Like, a lot of them will just get with some woman who's telling them what's what, and getting rationed out sex and whatever. And there's something Fiona said in the chat earlier, to do with 6 figures or something. No, not 6 figures. She said about women submitting, but then they have to pay half. See, this is the thing. Like, this is what I'm saying about guys they don't know what they want the dynamic to be. They know they want a woman to kind of, they like, oh, I want a wife. But then they also want an independent woman. Like, what? So their idea is, well, I want her to pay half because we should have 50-50 and she should pay half the bills and half the rent. And listen, I'm sure there's some women who will pay half the rent and still be what you'd call submissive or whatever, but I wouldn't blame her if she ain't. Because if she's paying half that rent, I mean, she practically is doing, I mean, she's pulling her own weight. And where did that money come from? I'm assuming she's got a job, a 9-to-5 probably. So she's commuting. She has to go to work. She's got a boss. She's got all the same things you've got. Why should she submit to you if it's the same thing across the board? Like, that's how women are going to view.
Do you know what? Even you saying that is one point I won't say, because I generally will agree with the women on. I'm one of those people where, to me, a man should, okay, whether you live, because for example, me and my partner live together, yeah, and we both pay stuff, but I'm still on the premise of I'm going to pay, if not everything, the majority, still having, because that's still part of the man concept. Because if she goes, I still need to be dealing with all of this stuff anyway. Do you know them ones? And that's one of the things where sometimes I disagree with the guys when they moan about that, because it's like, bruv, don't worry about her being submissive. You just need to get your money up. Like, what are you worrying about her being submissive for, bruv? You need to get your money up, G.
Yeah, because
if she goes, you're screwed, because she takes 50% of the money with her.
Exactly. Because my thing is that what my issue with it is that it's like, look, it's this mixture of old and new age concepts, but they don't work. Like, and they don't work because of human nature. So because we keep being dishonest about our natures, that's why this keeps happening. We're dishonest, saying, oh, a woman can be providing the same way a man's providing and she'll be satisfied with that. No, she won't. In most instances, she just simply won't. I don't know why that is. I didn't make things the way they are. But at the end of the day, generally speaking, they're not. I don't know why. I've always asked those who make money, I'm like, yo, why don't you just provide and let the guy be like, he doesn't do that and he just, I don't know. And I'm not going to lie, I think it's cringe. Even when I try and say it, I'm thinking, that doesn't sound right. But I'm just trying to understand the logic of why it doesn't happen. And even though in my gut, it doesn't even feel right. But
you do see it though, homosexuals, you do see it often. This is again the Pookie and Ray Ray debate, where you see situations where they don't have finances and you see them linked up, you see them sleeping in their girl's house, you see them have their car, all the kind of things. And this is where the whole situation of, I suppose, the educated lame, how he's like, well, hold on a second. I have maybe not a high figure finances, but I have my shit together to a certain degree. But hold on, how's that happen? Where this woman here, should be kind of the woman who should be looking for me, at least in some sort, but that's not happening. So you do see that. It's not like you don't see it. It's just
No, yeah, you're right. It is there, and homosexual is a big thing. But again, like it's one of those things where, generally speaking, though, I mean, at the end of the day, if even if a woman, because here's the thing, I think a lot of women just put up with things. Like at the end of the day, if the woman knew, okay, this guy could, like, if that same homosexual said, I'm gonna get all my money, I highly doubt most of these girls are gonna be like, no, you need to just stay there and keep playing that PlayStation. Don't worry about none of that. You know, like, I don't, unless she thought he was gonna leave. But again, even if that happens, it's like you gotta look at the situation. Because I remember I met a woman who said that as well. Like, she said, oh, I don't care about the money, I just want someone to be with me. And I just looked at it like, she just wants somebody, right? Because a lot of women who are making money don't always have like guys like that. They don't have a lot of time for a social life, so they ain't got time to be meeting guys like that. And then when they meet a guy who's half decent, boy, maybe he ain't got money like that, but he's attractive or whatever, he's laying down right, blah blah. Like, it's one of those things where they kind of have a scarcity mindset, so they just deal with whatever they think is the best situation right now, you know. And it just happens to usually be that it's these pookie or Ray types. But again, that's because those are the type of guys who will do that. The educated guy, he's probably not even meeting these types of girls like that, which is funny because
you know as well. You know with this exact situation you're talking about. Because I agree. Because I know a few people that are homosexuals. Yeah, I know a few that are still even now. But do you know what makes me laugh when they're moaning about these guys and these females, right? They're not even, a lot of the time, these quote unquote educated lames or these other guys, they're just looking at the female from a certain angle. Because a lot of the time, with those females and those guys, right, a lot of that situation either is, like you said earlier, those guys have got certain bits of assertiveness or certain things that they show or apply at different times that keeps the woman there and keeps her interested, that those lames just don't get the concept of or just cannot do, right? Or it's a situation where I see a lot of these females where they're actually emotionally either damaged or quite clingy, to the point where if you see the dynamic in a lot of those relationships, the woman might have the place, she might have the money. That's a lot of those relationships where you see the woman driving the guy around, etc. But you guys know what I'm talking about. You like, you can spot them a mile away. And I'm not gonna lie, it's usually a white guy and a black guy. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, yeah. A lot of the time I found, and usually I've seen the scenarios when, for example, the guy's been messing about with other chicks and the woman finds out. I usually see a lot of scenarios. And the woman always comes across like, oh my God, you can't leave me. She's gonna die if this guy goes. And it's like, so when these other guys complain about, oh, this girl I know always only goes for this Pookie or Ray or these type of girls, it's like, bruv, do you know what? Stay where you are, because you see those women you're going for, they're not all you think they're cracked up to be, bruv, because they've got their own issues. Because to have that sort of, you can't leave me, I'm gonna go, like, you've got some other issues you need to sort out. Do you know what I mean? Just like you say with the IG models. To be honest, a lot of the time, these guys, number one, I don't even think they would know what they're getting themselves into for half these females that complain about they want, right? Because a lot of them are more trouble than these guys are used to, and these guys can even deal with. And again, sometimes I don't feel sorry for these guys, because a lot of them really either just want females that look a certain way, like you were saying, the IG Kim Kardashian type, or they actually just want a smash. Even the ones that say they want a relationship, they just want a permanent smash, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Not in a vindictive way, but certain people will get into relationships with, you know, attractive females, what they deem attractive, or even married, just to permanently get to sleep with her. Like,
you know, it's so true. And this is something that we don't really just want to just discuss like this, because guys always keep talking about, oh, they want the woman to do this. But let's be honest, most of these guys only want one thing, and that is just to have a woman who's bad, because all they care about is smashing that chick. They don't care a lot of times that this woman, whether she can cook or clean or all this other kind of stuff. It's just, is she cooperative enough for me to get what I want out of it? That's all it is. Because if these guys could smash these women who on a regular, they wouldn't even give a crap. They wouldn't care about half the complaints I'm hearing right now. As long as they can get what they want, and all it is getting them in bed. That's a lot. Let's be honest. That's a lot of guys care about. It's only after a certain age, I'll be fair, and even then, I'm like, ugh. I mean, it's just now other things come into the foray regarding, oh, she has to be like this, she has to be like that. I'm like, if guys could get what they wanted in terms of just getting the peace leave, that's all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that just comes from, again, because they don't have it. Because like, if you can get the types of goals you want, again, I think there's a lot of it's a correlative thing. Like, I think that not even correlative, it's actually a causative thing. I think a lot of it is, again, like, it's this unseen element that's behind a lot of these dynamics of relationships, and guys can't pick up on what it is, which is one of the things that the red pill, the part of the red pill that discusses female nature and all that. That's one of the best things about it, is that it helps to unveil those things that most of these guys just cannot pick up on. I've said this before, how you'd think like, oh, there's certain things you might think of as common sense, but it's not common sense for two reasons. One, because a lot of guys are not socially and emotionally as intuitive as women are. And two, because societally, we've been told quite literally the opposite thing. So there's two layers. Even if a guy was picking up on something, society's telling him, oh, that's not what you think it is. It's actually, that's just you. You need to get out of that. That's toxic. That's sexist. Don't think like that. But he's looking at it like, well, hold on a minute. I'm at school and I'm seeing that these girls keep going for these guys who act like assholes. That's I'm literally seeing it. My friends are seeing it. We're all seeing it. But then I can't really say that because that makes me, oh, that's just what she likes. So a lot of guys they're just brainwashed into thinking the opposite of what's the truth anyway, even if they can pick up on it. But the point is that I think that a lot of the dynamics are built around, like, again, a lot of women like guys who are assertive, who are confident, and if I'm just going to be honest, who don't give that much of a fuck. Like, they like the guy to care, but they prefer that let's put it like this, it's more like if there was a percentage, they'd care more that he mostly doesn't give a fuck, but so then when he does give a fuck, it's more valuable. Because the thing is that most guys' default is they care too much. So their default is, oh, I will take you out on a date straight away and do all these things, and I don't really care. Now you got to think, and I don't think a lot of guys think like this, but think from a woman's perspective. If I meet you and you're a new guy, I don't know you, you don't know me, and your first thought is, I want to give you the whole world. Sure, I'm going to think, okay, I'll take that. But in the back of my head, I know that you probably do this with any girl who looks like me.
Yeah.
So it's you've got no standards. You've got absolutely no assertiveness. That's why when you're a guy who doesn't do that, and you're like, let me check this out a bit, she already knows, like, okay, this is a guy who's, you know what I mean? And the thing is, and I think a lot of guys don't understand this, but women tend to have way more social experience than men do on average. So they tend to meet a lot more people, and they tend to have a lot more interactions with the opposite sex, especially in that type of way, because obviously they're more used to guys approaching them or trying to talk to them or whatever. So they tend to learn from a young age as well. So they tend to learn a lot faster how to deal with the opposite sex. See, because a lot of men don't have those interactions, man, there's guys that are in their 30s and they haven't had a girlfriend and they haven't kissed a girl, and you think many women have reached their 30s and they haven't.
You know what? I'm even glad you even said that, because before I discovered all this, the sort of different pills and the sort of explosion of it, and how much people were, the whole concept. I mean, I knew of the whole concept of what an incel was, but to be perfectly honest, growing up with like myself and the people around me, like there wasn't really much guys that had problem getting girls like that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like there were certain guys that got more girls than others, like that just goes, like, but there wasn't really anybody that didn't get any. So when I'm hearing these, and like you said, these are big mans as well, and I'm hearing these sub stories, and I'm thinking, bruv, like I'm not even being funny, but I cracked this formula when I was like 15. Like, where have you been? Like,
you have to read between the lines, though. What they're saying is they can't get the girls that they want.
That's what they're saying, and they're not being honest then, because they make it. if you was to listen to them, you would think that all women are avoiding them and they can't get any, but it's the girls they want. But in wanting the
Absolutely.
basis, what they look like.
I think it's.
I've
I
heard a
think
lot of them
it.
say this. If it's a girl they don't like, it doesn't count. So it's not as if there's not
See?
the quality women that they want, they're not getting. And that's what happens a lot of times. When a woman says, "Oh, no guys approach me," or "No, I can't find a guy," it's usually the guy they want. And it's the same with the men. When a lot of these complaints I'm hearing, I'm looking at them like, hold on, they just can't get the girl or girls that they want. That's
Do you know what's really stupid about that one? Yeah, is when. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Is if they'd have gone through the teething stage of that, and you guys all know. I mean, and a lot of people went through this in like teenagehood, like an early adult, being an early male, is going through those stages with maybe not the exact females you want, but females in general. And the more interactions you have, the more confident you become anyway, which will then, help you when you're approaching the females you quote unquote do like. I mean, but anyway, maybe I can just say it easily because I suppose I've experienced it like early, but I don't know. With some of these guys, I think it's just like, even when they talk about the whole relationships between Pookie and Ray Rays and these females, right? And like we said, some of these guys are just assertive, but some females even say it. I mean, I know some of it sounds like, they just masochists and they just like abuse, but some of them are just like, oh, you've heard females say it, I just want a guy to tell me to shut up, you know what I mean? Which sounds mad, but when Pookie or Ray tells her to shut up, trust me, she don't try him again. You know them ones. Like, so...
Well, that's the thing. She might try him again, but it's like
she get punched up, isn't she?
Well, this is the thing. Look, this is the thing, because I've known guys who are like, "Oh, you just gotta beat women, whatever." Look. Here's the thing. Like, what I noticed, because for me growing up, I was more on the educated lame side. Now, I don't think being educated means lame. It often gets coupled together just because that's just how in the black community is perceived. But I don't think educated by itself means lame. You can be... There's this concept I have, which is intellectual assertivism, which is, I think, that you can be an intellectual person and still be assertive. You can still come across like, I don't give a fuck, which is exactly how I am now. But I had to get to that point because originally I was more kind of lame-ish. And I say ish just in terms of how I carried myself, because I've always kind of not really been fully on that simp mode. Like, I've never really been like that. So, but the thing is that there's guys who, they're whatever you'd call the street guy or whatever kind of guy, and they don't give a fuck, and they'll kick a woman down a flight of stairs, and the woman comes back, and then guys who are quote unquote good guys look at that, have a crush on that same girl, and think, why does she do that to herself? And they don't get it. And to be honest, it is a bit mad. It's like, why would you do that, right? And that same girl, it's like, if you try and ask her, she's like, oh, but he's a good person, really. Like, he's a good person. Like, they're proper go for bat for this dude. Meanwhile, the guy who's decent, I can see where the animosity comes from for these guys that we're describing, because you're looking at, like, because here's what the problem is. The issue is that the narrative says on paper, if you're a guy who handles his business, you'll get the woman you want. That's the narrative that's sold, even to this day. So a lot of guys buy into that naturally, because at one point it was true. As I said, at one point, if you did most of the things you need to do, you would probably get a woman, a wife, and have your kids. Okay. So, but because it's not really like that, it's not as guaranteed now. A lot of guys are thinking, boy, this ain't right. Like, they're looking at girls who are what they're viewing as the most beautiful, and those girls will just go with any old dude. They're thinking, but that's not right. I'm the one who's grinded. I should get my rewards for it. And I'm not gonna lie, in a society that had more structure to it, that is probably how it would go. Because the reason why there's so much confusion and mess in the marketplace is because you've got it where the most beautiful women will just go with whoever the fuck they want. Now, that's just part of the feminism and having women be having freedoms to pick who they want to pick. But that's why you get these disgruntled guys, because they're still under the impression that if they work hard enough, they can get those goals. But that's not entirely true. And so that's why, like, even when you're saying like the guys with incels and stuff, I don't know about incels. I feel like they're slightly different to what I'm thinking of, like, because I don't really care about incel dudes like that, because they're mostly just complaining about shit that they could fix in if they was to just put some effort in. But I'm talking about guys who do put the work in and still are struggling, because that's another thing that is real. And I think that because they'll be saying, I want certain types, and they're struggling to get the types they want. But I think, again, the issue is because they're not, again, like they're not doing certain things. But let me put it like this. So you'll get the guys who obviously always talk about traveling and doing all this kind of stuff, or they'll just go to different demographics, or they'll just do this. And then their argument is, look, I don't deal with half this bullshit. I don't have to have game. I don't need to be all of these different things, and I don't get problems. Now, the way I'm looking at it is, there is definitely going to be some kind of disconnect in your head if you know that's the case. Like, if you know there's this, like, I'm here in the West and I've got to bang out and do all this extra work, I do all of that, then I still don't really get my full props and respect anyway. I mean, like, I mean, I can see why you just be like, fuck it. Like, because, I mean, what is the point? Again, if we're going to the topic of the stream, if you got I'm a prince and whatever, okay, he didn't grind for that, but he's still in a position that a lot of people would think of as that's respectable, or that's something to look at. And the woman you're with don't give a fuck about none of that. She's like, look, I want to do what I want to do. Even though she chose to get into that situation where she knew your royalty, she knew it's a white royal family, you know, and whatever. Like, she's not dumb. I know she knew what she was getting herself into. She's not stupid. But she is using all of that shit to benefit in other ways, which is like, whatever, fair enough. She's just playing the game. She's doing what she's doing. But my point is that that's how all this stuff is. It's built around, like, how can I gain from this situation? How can I get something from this guy I'm with, or whatever? And again, I've said it already earlier, but I think guys are the ones who are just slow, where they're still they're romanticizing old concepts. And I think a lot of women are up to speed with the modern dating game. The only difference with a lot of these women is that they want very specific things, and they are realizing they can't always have it. But if I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of those girls, the only issue with a lot of them really is their mentality, like their behavior. That's it. Because a lot of guys talk about the wall, but personally, I think the wall's a bit overrated. From what I'm seeing, guys out here who are millionaires, they ain't really getting with no 21-year-old model. That's not what most of them are getting.
Yeah, like Jeff Bezos, his now fiance now, she's, I want to say 40 something, late 40s. So it's not like he's with some 23-year-old woman, 21. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it is exaggerated. To be fair, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think a lot of this is exaggerated.
Yeah, because it's again, it can happen, but the way these guys talk about it, you'd think that's the default when it isn't. In fact, a lot of guys, from what I've heard, who are older, like let's say 50, remember, youth is relative as well. Like, if you're a 50-year-old man, a 30-year-old woman, which is, remember, they say 30, that's post-war. So a 50-year-old man, a 30-year-old woman is not post-war. That's a youthful woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a young woman to a lot of those guys. That's how they view it. Like, because what their regular is a 50-year-old woman. So they're looking at it like 30, that's 20 years younger than me. That's how they, you know, so I think, like, I get what they're saying. If they're talking about, if they want these on-point guys who are in shape, in their prime, who have all the options, that's what they're talking about. But, you know, that's women's fault. You know, women shouldn't be, women wanting those kinds of guys, whatever, in it. But I don't know, man. So much of this stuff is hard to say, because it's like a lot of it is exaggerated. Like, I don't think as many women are trying to go for this 10% as guys say they are. I think it's just a lot of guys lack assertiveness, and a lot of guys aren't willing to be leaders in their own relationships.
They're not willing to even adjust or try, bruv, to be honest. They're almost doing this, she's going to take me as I am type thing. But would you date yourself? I always come back to that. I don't care how much money you got, bruv. Would you date yourself? You know them ones, like...
Yeah, like, so I remember, like when I was in certain, like when I was living at home and I didn't have no money and all these different types of things, I'm sitting there thinking, well, there's certain things about me right now that if the goal was to be with me long term, it's a good investment. But that's just what I've got charted for myself. She don't really know for certain, but that's just me having confidence in myself. But you see, the thing is even that a lot of guys don't have. Like, if I talk to most dudes, no matter what age they are, they don't have no vision for themselves. They don't have no plan or nothing. This is one of these things I hear guys come and say, like, oh, you know, you got to get a woman on your program, or you got a lead. It's like, if you don't have a program and you can't lead something, if you don't have anything to lead, like what are you doing? You don't have shit.
You need to have a world. You need to create a world for us to come into in the first place, bro. Like,
yeah. And I'm not trying to be like harsh on guys or too much, but I kind of think guys need it a little bit because, you know, especially if we're talking about red pill, because sometimes the red pill is like, look, I see both. I do see a lot of guys go in on guys as they should, but I'd say we have to go in on guys because, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, it just begins and ends with them. I'm sorry, like that's just how it is. I don't care about the feminist rhetoric. I'm sorry. I know just the fact of the matter is if guys switch up, like the White Matter said earlier, if they switch up and stop doing some of this bullshit, a lot of these things ain't gonna happen or ain't gonna work, and it won't be like that. But what has to be understood is what are we supposed to transition it into? Like it can't just be, yeah, like you know, fuck feminism, da 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 da. It's like cool, but what are we supposed to do then? Like, because I don't think we can really go back fully. I just don't think it's gonna work. The technological advancements we have, it doesn't even. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think it's realistic, and I think there has to be an evolution of some sort, man. Like there has to be, and my personal opinion on what it would be is it should be something that's based around merit rather than emotion. Like no one should get a job position because they know somebody or some bullshit like this. I know that's hard to police, but it should genuinely be like, yo, what are your credentials? Do you fit this? And are you the best person, period, across the board in everything, male, female, whatever. And then when it comes to schooling, we should be encouraging people to do things that we know they have, like they're better. For example, let's look at, because I'll say one thing that is good in a weird way about all of this is the data we can get from it. This is why I'm saying that I think a lot of these things will be rectified in the future at some point, because we've never had it where we've had this information data gatherer like the internet and all this stuff, these search engines, and we've had all this social expression and freedom. You got all kinds of people living all kinds of places and recording it. That's a lot of information that's never existed before. Like history was always selected and processed and picked by the people who just wanted to carry certain things on. But now everything's there. Everything's there. Like and or at least a lot more. You know, even video clips, and there's so much information out there now. Like, and it does make things confusing. But I think at some point it will be used to kind of shape society in a way that is more based on reality than not. Because, for example, the patriarchy used to be like, okay, women can't do this, they can't do that, they can't do this. Cool. So what feminism's shown us is, okay, well, women can out-earn men, women can do good in school, they can do things. They're not just these dumb automatons that, you know, can't do nothing. Okay, they can do things, right? And sometimes they can do it better than men. However, and this is where the feminism is the problem, there's a lot of things they can't do better than men, and now we can see that. So what I would think is it's just about being truthful. The shit that we know they can't do so well, stop trying to force women to do it just for the sake of diversity, or, you know, like when they have the military, a lot of women ain't trying to be in the military. Oh, well, we want a 50% female military force. Why? Like, just take the guys who want to go into it and stop trying to force things that don't need to be forced. You know, or STEM, for example. You know, like they want to do these things where they want to encourage more girls to go in STEM. No one's stopping girls from applying for STEM. If they don't want to do it, they don't want to fucking do it. Instead of encouraging them, you need to encourage more boys who you know are more likely to do it and stay in it, and get them to do it. So it's just like about where they focus their resources and attention. I think a lot of it's being wasted for the sake of diversity and fantasies that aren't based in real life and what's actually going on.
100%. And I think also what's happened because of that fact is a lot of men, they have completely lost their focus and they've dropped the ball. And I think this is where you're talking about, where it comes to the evolution, where women have now switched on to the fact of, look, I can work, I can earn this kind of money, therefore I'm going to get it. A lot of women seem to be more go-getters than men are. Again, taking it back to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, as soon as Meghan touched down in LA, she was off to work. She was doing whatever she needed to do to get the streams, because she knew, and they knew, let's be honest, that they were not going to get supported by the royal family anymore. Gone is the privilege, gone is your the taxpayers' money, gone is all that when it comes to security, everything. So guess what? She went to work. And I think a lot of guys don't have that mindset yet, which is you got to get to work. Not only are you competing against men, but you're competing against women in the same role. You got to get to work, because men respect nothing more than work. So, and one thing I just want to sort of end off on is what relationship. I know as guys we don't have this, but I just want to kind of ask the question: is there a relationship dynamic in this day and age which you think is more resembles maybe the modern evolved, but still keeps a lot of the principles which you like? So I think the only examples I can think of just off the top of my head is the dynamic between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, or Prince William and Kate. Which one would you prefer, or even give me another example if you want to?
I'm not sure. I know enough about celebrities to pick one.
I know, and it's kind of it's the easiest one because people know celebrity dynamics, and because obviously with the evolution of things, it's always a situation with, okay, then what is the sort of the standard bearer, or at least something which you think, okay, that kind of resembles something which has a modern twist to it, but it's a kind of a good example of maybe that's relationship to look up to. Because I know a lot of people, women particularly, look up to it, but I don't know. Do you have a preference out of the two? Then, which one would you be your preference?
Well, it's definitely not going to be Meghan and Harry, so I'd have to go more with Will and Kate if I had to pick between those two. I don't know enough about their relationship, but just based on the surface of what I do know, straight up, it ain't going to be Meghan. That's for damn sure. So,
what about you, KB?
Again,
feel free to give others if you can. But they're the two which are clearly the obvious contrast between the two. So I had to pick those two couples.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Do you know what? Even if I was picking those two or something similar, it would be maybe mine's too convoluted. I don't know, because mine would be a bit of a mix, because I like the thought of what you're saying in terms of the Kate relationship sort of keeps to herself and so on and so on. But at the same time, I do see, I don't like, maybe it's just me though, I don't like feisty chicks, but I do like, when need be, and when it's necessary, a woman that can stand up for herself. And the reason why I say that is because, especially if we've got we're going to have a family, or we do, I want them to see that as well, because I'm someone who will as well. So I want them to see that from both. So that's kind of a modern woman thing. But at the same time, maybe I'm quite lucky because I've got a bit of a mix of this. Maybe that's how I'm describing it. Because the general modern woman that has that sort of attribute probably is a little bit too mouthy, which, yeah, is too much the other way. But yeah, I don't know. I like homely girls, but I don't like girls that are a bit too meek. Like, not the too quiet ones, but nah. Just have a little bit of spice in you, a little bit of fire. Like, do you know what I mean? Just not too much, a little bit. Well,
you're going for more than Meghan side. It sounds a bit like, because
but see, bro.
No, I think I get what you're saying,
bro. Yeah, she started talking, she would argue, bro. Like, genuine ones, like, she wouldn't.
I get what he's saying, because I have the exact same thing, and I've been in relationships like that as well. And it's attainable. It's just a woman. Look, the thing is,
they exist, those type of girls. Those that mix.
Yeah. It's not even that uncommon. Again, it just comes down to respect. That's it. Like, the problem is that a lot of the girls who are mouthy, it's not just that they're mouthy; they have no respect. That's and the thing is, they don't tend to just be like that with the guy they're with. They tend to be, look, if you go outside and you see some girl just cussing out someone in Tesco, like, bro, that's just how some girls are. That's just, they just have no respect in general. But then there are some where they specifically don't have respect for the man or whatever. But generally, from what I see, if the guy gets with a girl, she's not all nice and sweet on the date, and then all of a sudden she's just like, usually the guy got a taste of that and he just went with it anyway. So I mean, like, most of the time, most girls, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of the disrespect on that stuff, it comes from what guys allow. This is, again, what I'm saying about your assertiveness and having a vision for yourself. Like, even with your relationship, you got to kind of know what you want. I think the problem is a lot of guys just kind of walk into relationships. They're like, oh, she's pretty, and I know I want a girlfriend, and I know I want my girlfriend to be pretty. She's pretty and she's a girl, so she can be my pretty girlfriend. That's it. It's that simple. Yeah. There's no standard for behavior at all. There's like, it's just, I just want the looks. Like, for me, behavior is so important. It's like the biggest thing besides looks. So it's like, if it's like, I might have my standards for what I want you to look like, but that behavior is a big deal, because if I have two girls and one of them is slightly prettier than the other, but she behaves worse, I'm taking one who has got the less looks. Like, because The
But
fact of the matter is,
let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this though. Are we saying that in regards to marriage, or what about just dating? Because there's a difference, isn't there? There's a difference now. Because if you're casually dating, which one would you choose? But marriage now.
If
still
it's a marriage
same
thing,
decision. Still the same decision.
You would. Okay.
Yeah. Why am I gonna take a girl who's pretty, or why am I gonna take a girl who's pretty?
no, then,
All their looks are gonna fade, and then their behavior is gonna be what's important. If I'm having a family with you, like
it's not
your behavior is more important than what you look like. Because if you start acting up a certain way, or you're a shitty person, that don't even. We're not gonna have any stable relationship. It doesn't even make sense. So it's like, but to me, I know you can have. I'm not talking about some girl who's a 4 versus a girl who's a 7. No, I'm just gonna go with neither of you. What I'm saying is if one of them's like an 8 or whatever people think of as an 8, and then one's a 7, I'll take the 7 because as I know that it's at the end of the day, so long as I find you attractive.
You just said something which is so important right there. Which again, this is on the women's side, which guys don't get. When women say a lot of things, there's a threshold. There's always a looks threshold where
there is.
That woman will. Like the guy, you will take again, let's say a more submissive, cooperative, a woman who's who's not as aggressive, only if she meets that looks threshold. And it's just like if she doesn't, then you're gonna take that woman all day, every day, who's feisty, she rank, she rude, all them kind of things. You're gonna take that woman. That's what I've seen.
Also, I think quickly, can I address Lou because he asked me a question? No, do you know what? I wouldn't pick Megan because she's a lighty. Nah, listen. Right, okay. Right. Megan, yeah. Like, okay. Do I like lighties? Yeah. Do I like them exclusively? Nah. I've said this before. Also, as well, you see, let me just address this in it because someone said this to me before. You see this lighty thing, yeah. Okay. Overall, do people describe them as pretty? Yeah. Would I say they're generally overall pretty? Possibly, because there's a lot of them that aren't. And within lighties, quote unquote, I actually have a certain type of face shape and feature type. And anyone that knows me personally knows. Now, if a girl particularly has a certain feature type, this is in terms of her looks, and her face shape is a certain thing, whether she's dark, because there's been certain girls that have looked similar and they've been different complexions. So just to be clear, right? I didn't just say Megan because she's a lighty. She's actually mixed, and she's not even a lighty. She's mixed race, right? So if you want to be specific. And secondly, she's all right, but she ain't all that. So I don't really want to be accused of being like a colorist. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'm gonna.
One thing. What can you give me an example of a face shape? Because you said something interesting. Face shape. What?
All right. So no, because it's certain. Okay, so let me see. How can I put this? Because there's a phrase for this. So for example, yeah. For example, in the world, like let's say I don't think there's even 10, but not everybody looks. There's certain people that have certain looks that look similar in the world. Like you can do you know what I'm trying to say? Like there's like maybe 10 or so different types. Maybe there's more, yeah. But I'm trying to think of an example. I'm trying to think of an example of somebody.
I was gonna say liberty. Is it like the jaw and has to be like a
yeah, bro. It's certain. When I come across these feet, yeah, it's specifics like that, bro. It's not just a chick's a lighty. I'm gassed because certain people try and say like I just love lighties, bro, and there's certain ones that are butters, bro. And if I'm honest, like you lot just want me to get rude, bro, because I have this phrase in it, like what a waste of being a lighty, because there's certain lighties.
That's a colorist.
Yeah, I know it is. That's what I'm saying, because there's some lighties, yeah, like seriously, like they do carry this whole lighty thing. Like I just have to address it because like they carry this whole thing.
To fully address it, but no, sorry, go on.
They carry this whole thing of being light skin or having certain hair texture and stuff. And you can tell in the sort of energy and everything, and it's like, bro, you're not buff, innit? Like you're actually kind of butters. You're just a lighty. You're just lucky your hair's that texture, and you're lucky you're that complexion, but you're not hot, bro. So bro.
But
don't start picking and choosing. Oh, whatever, man. Anyway,
I mean,
carry on.
To me, like I don't know. I feel like, look, I mean, personally, to me, I feel like whatever. Like even if that were the case, that's just because at the end of the day, most people in society, I've tried to point this out to people and be like, oh, when someone says they have a dating preference, they're being racist. I've said this to people, and I'm not saying it like in a judgmental way. I'm saying it in an objective, technical sense. And people get pissed and be like, "Oh, I'm not. I just have a preference." Right now, everyone's very different. White people, Asian people. You ask the average white guy, "Oh, why don't you like black girls?" "I just not my preference." I remember there was a girl I was dating who was mixed race. I showed you the picture of her to a white guy. He's like, "Oh yeah, she's black." I'm like, "She's mixed." He's like, "Well, same thing, isn't it?" I'm like, bro, like, the fuck? And it's like, and I'm just like, but it is, listen how brazen he was. He was on it like, "Well, I can't really judge her because she's a black girl." I was like, what? So I was like, so because she's mixed, but because she's black to you, you can't judge her beauty. Basically, things like that. What it taught me was a lot of non-black guys have a difficulty when it comes to black or whatever they perceive as a black woman or whatever. They have a difficulty being able to perceive attractiveness in them. It's very odd, but I don't know. They just seem to have an issue with that. But anyway, the point is everyone else is brazen and bold about their racial preferences, but you, if you're a black guy, all of a sudden there's a big problem. And I just feel as though it's like, look, man, even if you did say you like Megan because she's like personally, yeah, it's a bit superficial, cool, like, but I don't really like mixed girls getting pedestalized so hard either. But at the end of the day, I'm more bothered by the fact that black guys specifically feel like they can't say what they like. But that really
we get hassle. Like, I've just been told I'm a colorist, yeah. Okay, listen, yeah. Right. No, like because exactly what you're saying, fam. Like, I just made a clear distinction saying why it's not because she's light skinned, yeah. Right.
So look, even when you came into the chat, one of the first things you were saying was that she ain't all that. That was literally one of the first things you said when you came into the chat. So it's like, look, at the end of the day, like, people just look, at the end of the day, even if you did say that, so what? Like, I just feel as though guys just, I don't give, like I like certain types of girls and they ain't all black. I don't really give a fuck if someone has an issue with that. Sorry.
I don't know why we get dick police so much, bro. It's a bit mad. Like, we get dick police, bro. It's a bit nuts. It's just a bit nuts. Like,
you know, because I feel like guys feel like they got to back down or they got to justify it, or like, you know, I'm not saying you don't have to, like, when you're talking about the facial features thing, maybe I'm not saying that's not true or whatever, but the thing is, it ain't even got to be all that. It could just be, look, this is just the type of woman I tend to prefer. Now, me personally,
and that's just in terms of appearance. I didn't even talk about characters. You know them ones, like, and yes, Fiona, my wife is a lighty. Yeah, she's Dominican and St. Lucian, so she's not mixed race. She's a lighty.
Oh, and yeah, some people, Lucians are quite light skinned. Like, my cousins are from like,
right. Okay, she has no white.
Some people be like, some people be like, oh, because she's light skinned, you're not with a proper black woman, blah blah. This is why, like,
oh, bro, you know how many times I've heard that, bro.
but fam, to me, this is why I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care if she's black, if she's Asian. Someone asked what's my preference. For me, and I'm saying this as genuine as possible. My preference literally is that they're just pretty. I don't have this. Like, I'll be fully transparent. When I was younger, if you'd asked me that, I would have probably said a white girl or something, because that was all I knew. Not because, because I just, in the era I grew up in, that was just literally what I knew. Once I got exposed to different types of races, women, I saw black girls who were beautiful to me, Asian girls who were beautiful to me, different types of women who were beautiful to me. I didn't have this preference based on race anymore. And I'm going to be real with you. Yes, a lot of guys and a lot of black guys, they do have this hierarchy in their head of, oh, I want a white woman even if she's big, and I'll pick her over a black girl because she's white. Yes, does happen, but it also happens on the women's side as well. But I would admit, yeah, it does happen. And this is why I said earlier about people being disingenuous and just lying on both sides. People just lie, and they lie because they feel like they can't own what they like. And I just want people to just stop fucking lying. If you're a black guy and you've got yellow fever and you just want a Japanese girl, bro, just own it and stop giving, like, because to me, it's just like, there's no point lying. It just perpetuates more of this nonsense. Like, we need to just know what, and again, White Matters, you brought it up a number of times. We've seen the stats anyway. So we know what it is. There's no point lying. Like, we've seen the stats and we know that in the black community, most people do pedestalize lighter skin. Just the truth. Like, it doesn't mean that and this is the problem, because in KB, in your case, like, I don't know, you may genuinely just have a preference for that, or you may just tend to enjoy women who have those, I don't know, but the point is for whatever reason, that just may be what you're around more, what you've been
Well,
with, and
well,
that's
well,
who you're
well, what
married
I'll
to.
say, good point, yeah, because with some of it as well, and I don't know, I don't really want to say it's black community exclusive because I bet it's not, but I can at least say from my point of view, I know with some people, and that includes myself, some of it is circumstantial. Let me say with the colorist thing, in terms of the sort of influence, be it again, so I'm a millennial, I'm in my 30s, so anybody that's been influenced over the sort of last 40, 50 years, yes, has there been immediate influence? Yes. Is there this sort of undertone in the black community of the lighter skin thing? Yes. Could we've been sub unconsciously influenced by it? Yes. Growing up, was it only light skinned girls pencilized as the nicest girls? No. But
No,
there was definitely a thing there. Yes. However, so I will acknowledge all those things. So for me to say I'm a full-blown colorist, no, because I know what that all entails. But what I can acknowledge, has there been some influence with consciously or so unconsciously? Most certainly, probably, yeah. However, right, and what a lot of people don't seem to acknowledge, or when I've heard men say this, and I know men that have gone through it, like myself, but it kind of gets either mixed in with the other stuff. You see, the problem is when it comes to the arguments, for example, with black men sort of rebelling against being dick police, which I disagree with completely, you get the guys that have this whole white woman experience and it gets mixed in. Now, their experience is completely different. Their experience is different, but it gets mixed in. But anyway, circumstantial, some of these things is the case of, and I know it sounds like guys are just saying it, but I had a harder time, and I've said this with white matters, you heard me say this bare times. I had a harder time with darker girls for whatever reason than lighter girls. The lighter girls, even from primary school, going to high school, and just generally, were all I can say is nicer to me. I got on with them more. They smiled at me more. I had more romantic success with them. Don't get me wrong. It's not just I just moved to lighties. There was different girls I moved to, but there because there's also this thing of going where you're celebrated, and maybe subconsciously, me and other people kind of went that way. So then maybe you start noticing more of the lighties and stuff. And where I've lived, yeah, I think it kind of helped, if you want to say, because where I lived, for some reason, it's one of those areas where there's a lot of light skinned people as well. Do you know, one of them ones? Like,
yeah.
so that probably helped as well. There was no shortage of light skinned girls around me as
But I
well.
mean, but here's the thing,
But
like, what do people want you to do? Is it like, so let's say, for example, like, the woman you're with now, because she's a light skin, like, what do they want you to do? So you meet her and you getting along, like in the early stages, you're like, oh, this is going great, but you know what? She's just not quite dark enough. So bun that, let me just, like, what exactly are you supposed to do about it? I don't really get
mm,
what the argument here really is, because to me, like, even the chat I'm looking at, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny, like, when people are like, you're
mm.
colorist and whatever, but like, my thing
No, I've
is
got a couple of answers for people still. You're good. These are good questions. These are good questions.
Yeah, and I think on that, just to sort of add, what the issue is not the fact that you like women who have lighter skin tone. Because one of the things that I hate is when it comes to the colorist argument is it's been used as a weapon to bash lighter skinned black women as if they have control over what shade skin
right.
tone that they've come out with. Like, you don't have the same choice to be dark skinned or whatever, she doesn't have the choice to be lighter skinned, but you consistently use the colorist argument to bash them and
Mm,
silence them. But what I say is this: the issue is a case of stereotypically. Now, let's be real. If you tell a black guy, "Oh yeah, I'm with a lighty," or "I'm with a mixed girl," automatically a lot of guys think she must be bad. Now, it's just that psychological thing where we sort of again pedestalize the fact that they may be of a lighter skin tone. I don't think it's an issue it is what it is. If you with someone who's lighter skinned, it is what it is. It's just that fact of there's something behind it as to why you like it, as opposed to you like it just because like white boys, they're like a lot of blonde haired, blue eyed girls. You hear that a lot, don't you? But you don't hear brunettes saying, "Oh, you're," or the equivalent is of that. I know
well,
here is different because you can dye your hair, but you know what I mean. White
yeah.
guys blonde girls like from Scandinavia, Russia. They love them type of look, don't they? Let's be honest.
Well, bruv, let me. It just goes into. Let me address what these two are saying. Because first of all, Fiona, right? You're saying excuse, and the white man made me do it. Actually, no. Do you know who? If I was to talk push that way, if we're going to talk real talk here, it's the black community that made me do it. Because you know what? Yeah, when I was growing up, all the black girls and all the ones as well that I liked, dark skinned ones. Because as you've heard my story, I grew up around a lot of Caribbeans, mainly, and Africans. Most of us were dark skinned, quite a few brown. Not even a quarter of people were light skin or mixed, but they were there. But most people dark or brown. They liked the brown skin and the lighter boys. Do you know what I mean? Within the families, when a child was mixed race or they were light, particularly if it was a girl, everybody in the family used to swoon over that child or children. She's so pretty. Look at her hair. Look at her da-da-da. So the white man didn't make me do nothing. The black community made me do it. And if I'm honest, a lot of this rhetoric we was talking about earlier about guys, naturally do things to impress women. And like I said, I learned these things early. One of the things where, okay, you could do nothing about it. And Lou, this goes into what you asked, was being lighter skin, having a certain, you see with me, even not even the hair texture, because I'm with some Ghanaians, our hair texture is a bit looser. So that's one of those things where a lot of actually those females, one of the things they would sort of replicate is, oh, your hair. So it was something that was out of the norm. So, but in terms of what you said, Lou, have I had moments of self-hate? Yes, yeah, of course, definitely. I'm a millennial black man, and that's got nothing just to do with females. It's to do with being with your own family. It's to do with way society treats you. It's the fact of when you grow up in a certain area and you have to deal with the police when you're like 9. Yeah, bruv. Oh, well, most definitely. By the time I got to girls, it was minor thing. It just reinforced it anyway. And to go off what you're saying, Fiona, and what black women a lot of time won't admit, and black men, and particularly darker black men, know this, even including lighter black men know this, and there's lighter black men that I know that don't like this. If truth be told, black women of all shades, and including darker and mainly darker, if they like black men, they like black men lighter than them. You lot don't want to admit it, but it's true. We had to deal with this a long time ago. Do you know what we did? We just cheered our brothers on. Bruv, take it for the team, innit? Do you know how much of my light skinned relatives and friends I've got with chicks? Because as soon as they even hear he's a light skinned let him be any sort of a rude boy or be tall. Look, do you guys know Ashley Cole, the footballer? Yeah. I've got a cousin who's only 2-3 years older than me, close cousin. Like he's got 12 brothers. Like, so one of them we grew up together. Like we went bare places. This guy looks just like Ashley Cole. Like literally spit of him, literally. But it's just a bit more black acting, like if you know what I mean. Like this guy, soon as I said, oh, I'm gonna bring my cousin, he looks like Ashley Cole. This guy used to run through black girls, and he's like brown skin. Do you know what I mean? And I know bare guys like that, and I've seen it happen bare times. And to be perfectly honest, truth be told, guys like me, I know I'm going on a bit, so please stop me, but even when we're with black women and we actually got with black women, a lot of the time, black women used to cheat on us with guess who? Light-skinned guys. I used to know bare light-skinned guys that would, guys, stop me anytime I'm lying because I'm telling the truth, aren't I? Like, tell me when I'm lying. Like, that's the most common thing. That's more than the most common, me growing up, at least when I was growing up until I sort of lived in a more multicultural place where there's all different races. When I lived around black people, if a woman cheated on a man, it was with a pretty boy. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't even usually the most fucked out dude. It was usually a pretty boy, one that was brown skin or one that had the coolie hair or the mixed race boy or They're the ones that was banging people's girlfriends from time. They're the ones. Black girls can be the most conservative girls when you're in a club. If she's not on you, she's not on you. She'll let you know. But make a pretty boy come. You see her lips in him. Look, this is what I'm saying. Black women ain't honest either. So when I hear this, so when you guys, the problem is, you guys are not attracted to us as much as you try to make out you are. And that's fine. We've dealt with that a long time ago. The problem is, I think you guys are confused because you think lighties shouldn't be attracted to us either. And you don't understand why they are. Well, that's not really, you can't be mad at us because lighties find us attractive. You're going to have to ask the lighties why they find us attractive. But it's just ain't a one-way street, because it's not just like black men are running after light-skinned chicks with their tongues hanging out and light-skinned chicks are turning them down. We're getting with them, we're having babies. It's a very common relationship. It's very, very common seeing a darker guy and a light-skinned chick. I see it all the time. So it can't just be the men. They must like us back as well. You better chat to your sisters. Or are they your sisters today? Because that's another thing. One minute they're your sisters, 1 minute they're not your sisters. 1 minute they're black, 1 minute they're not black. 1 minute Kamala Harris is a black woman, 1 minute Cardi B isn't black. Meghan Markle's black, but she's mixed race. I mean, bruv.
One thing I want to say, because I think this could go on for a long time, and I kind of want to wrap the stream up. We've kind of
let me chat
on a colorist tangent, which it needs a separate. It sounds like it needs a separate stream, because there's always two sides to every coin, and there's always your experience, the man experience, and the woman's experience. So there's you know what I mean. There's always different experiences, and I kind of didn't want to get into almost like interrogating KB your dating choices when the stream's about something completely different.
I know. I'm stopping now.
No. It's just how the stream evolves, and I appreciate it. I mean, hey, look, we've gone on for over 3 hours now, so I ain't saying anything, but I definitely do want to end the stream. Thank you for everyone who is participating in the chat. I do appreciate you being out here on a Sunday. So I may do more streams around this sort of time, just because weekend, Sunday might be a better time. I don't know how you guys have situated on these sort of days at all, but yeah, I may do more streams on this sort of day. But yeah, this conversation probably needs a good conversation, to be fair to you. So I don't know, KB, that's something you do, or I don't know how I do it, because there has.
No, that's fine. I think I should actually make a stream about this, because I've been, to be honest, this is kind of why. And Fiona, no, I've taken no offense to what you said, by the way. I actually like the fact you asked me. I've come across this bad times. It's fine. Don't worry.
No, that's cool. And I hope you don't come across as you've been flipping interrogated or whatnot. But yeah, no. I've been seeing a lot of things again regarding, even when it comes to black women and the colorism, and how, again, this is what I hate about the whole colorism argument, just to end it, just to say, a lot of times it's been used for a lot of darker skinned black women to bash their lighter skinned sisters, as if they can actually choose what skin they came out as of. And again, like they said, if they must like dark skinned guys to go out with them. I think it's just the because of the media, like Idris Elba, and I forgot the man's name, Daniel. I forgot what that British actor. I think Kahlua, that's it. I think it's just phases. I think it's just phases. Like beforehand, it was lighter skinned guys. Now it's dark skin. I don't know. But anyway, that's another stream. That's another topic. That's another one anyway. So again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Myth. Thanks, KB, for coming up. Thank you to everyone. Yeah, no worries. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Again, whoever's been listening, who's back in the cloud in the clouds, please like the stream, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. So we're out.
Peace.